Ben Spooney, DT Jack Attack, Marcus Eichersheim, Mercury Vapor, Jonathan Hughes, Furbears, he obviously, Goran Winter, Fred Smith, Tom Houston, Ron Nona, Electrobilia, Scruff Dogs here, Jerry, G Fresh, I've seen Mouse, Mr. Eggcake, the Chipmunk is here, Mike Kleiner, everybody's here. Let's begin. So I'll start off with the traditional sterilisation, which apparently is needed because now that everybody's said, like, it's over, we've been distracted by a war, let's all just let it rip, and it's ripping. So, sterilisation in progress. Ultraviolet sterilisation. Of the wrong wavelength, but you know what? There are companies selling this wavelength and saying, yes, it is germicidal actually, and there's evidence of that because they found that if they tested a certain batch and they put the light up right next to it, then 1 or 2 of the microbes died, but all the rest proliferated. They don't mention that bit. Or maybe I'm just being facetious. I can be facetious at times. And then the first Jägermunion. The first Jägermunion, once again, because of current world events, it's to the people of Ukraine and Russia who have been dragged into a war that neither of them wanted for political power reasons. The sooner it's over, the better. To the people of Ukraine and Russia, all the innocent parties in the current political and financially motivated events. Now, any orange stuff? Well, you know, there was almost orange stuff. But in the end, I went for green stuff. Because if you notice down in the description down below, and I'll show you this again later, but I'll give you a sneak preview of it now. It's a 3D printed script. A 3D printed script that you type in the thickness of your LED neon. It's not neon, it's LED. They're completely different things. The neon lovers get so annoyed when I call this LED neon. But to me, this is an representation of neon done with LED. But you type in your diameter based on the center of the actual material. You type in the thickness, how high you want the lip, how thick you want the walls. Kind of, I should just make that set. But you know, some people may want it super strong. It even makes a hole for the cable. And once you've done that, when you put your neon in, you end up with the lovely neon circle. How lovely. I can have a neon circle, or I could have it facing me and make myself look green and awful just because, well, that's it. I could put it around my mouth like this to accentuate all my missing teeth and rile the American fashionistas up quite big time. I could put this in the background, but it would just be, it's probably quite power hungry really. But it's a nice, clear, round circle. And whatever size your printer can manage, you can have a circle of that diameter. I'll show you some of the other frames. I shall unplug this moment. I'll show that later on because the stream hasn't got totally up to speed yet. I shall put this here, probably. I shall put it there. Steve Brace, you're not that late. You're literally 4 minutes. Very large quality street in background. Oh, the green quality street. If you know this guy's not seen that, I wonder if that was introduced on the last Patreon stream. Not sure. Because I didn't have any of this stuff in Glasgow. I had a little mini mouse pewter in Glasgow, and since I've now missed St. Patrick's Day, here is the St. Patrick's Day shamrock. I remembered it this time. Could McCam get a shout out for his birthday today, please? Yes, Mrs. Cam. I'd read that as McCam. Mr. Cam, happy birthday. Link in the description, Human Seagull. If you go into the description, there is the script. How is Glasgow, Clive? Glasgow is good, Mr. Sausage, and I didn't even get COVID. Crackling audio today, and who is in the corner? That's mysterious person creeping in the corner. It's, what do they call that current thing that's in vogue? Corridors or back rooms or something like that. Is that an Altman Studios figure? An Altman Studios figure? Not? Oh, yes. Is it Altman Studios? Oh, this. Right, gotcha. If you remember the old website, this is the original Bluto from the figure in the website. Is it Altman Studios? Made in China. Hesco or Mezco Toys, spelt the Z, or a Z, 2001. Bluto. Uppercut the butt. I should put Bluto back up here. Out of harm's way, are probably causing destruction in the process. Bluto is fit. Bluto is indeed fit. Bluto is a total bear. Back when being a big ugly bear got you parts in movies as well. Brutus was the guy that killed Caesar, yes, Gregory Thomas, but not this particular one, although he could have, maybe it was an uppercut. Maybe uppercutted his butt. We need more orange stuff. Well, if you saw the logo, the thumbnail of the stream, that is very orangey. I love that sign. I saw that sign in St. Enoch Shopping Centre in Glasgow, a mall, and it's for a restaurant. Can't remember the name of the restaurant. It is in the thumbnail, but it's a really stylish outline. The whole thing has been custom made. It's just a bare plastic frame with the LEDs, presumably the front section pushed into the back section with the LED tape round the side of it, so it produces an absolute linear line with no joint. And it's just really bright, super warm orange, just like the logo. It was fantastic. Let me scroll and catch up. Thank you, Mark Pitt. Been a while since I chipped into the cake fund. Thank you. I shall buy cake. Bluto was the bad guy from Popeye. Brutus, who a lot of people were calling the figure, was not. Indeed. But it's very easy to mix Bluto and Brutus up. They're both from the same, possibly from the same artist. Hello, Raymond J. And greetings back to Germany, Basti. Sorry I'm late. Was watching Palace Cat Kittens at 7 weeks old, Sean not telling. Kitty action. Have I got time to feed the fox in my garden? If you wish, you can pop out and feed the fox. That's something I noticed when I was back in Glasgow. Walking back, I often go out because I'm quite nocturnal. I went to Asda. It used to be owned by Walmart, now no longer owned by Walmart. But Asda, the big 24-hour shopping centre, and on the way back, there were lots of foxes just milling around looking for snacks because people are feeding them. I still eat Popeye brand spinach, says Gregory Thomas. I was eating spinach recently. Was it spinach? Yes, it was. At Subway. They serve spinach leaves if you wish. If there's crackling, I don't know if I can do anything about that. Thank you, Grant. Much appreciated. If there's crackling, there's nothing else running on this phone, and it has been rebooted recently. But I could stop and start, but we know what happened last time I stopped and start. It didn't start again. Bluto was the ultimate sexual predator. Pretty sure he used to rape olive oil. Maybe they used olive oil. Maybe she was willing. I'm not really sure. Bluto's name was changed to Brutus because it was incorrectly believed to be copyrighted. Oh, right, okay. Was that a left or right boot? I'm not sure. So other things I have to show in my show and tell are I bought one of Philips. For the rest of us, not Dubai lamp. It's the super efficient one, which has, for a 4-watt light, it's got 2 filaments per watt, but they're longer, so it's probably about the equivalent of the 3 filaments per watt. And someone said to me, by all means, get them, but I thought there was a green tint to them. And they're right, the white is got a distinct gas lamp green tint. That must be because they've tweaked the phosphorus and maximum efficiency and biased it maybe, but there is that little green hint to this. It's not golden worm white, but that's probably an efficiency thing. It does draw the 4 watts stated. I shall take it apart. Coffee. X-ray of lamp coming. The lamp will be X-rayed thoroughly internally. Bluto's the fat one that started the food fight in National Lampoon's Animal House. Remember Bluto in that one? Gaz Young Live. He had a moustache, that's probably why I remembered him. Have you tried the Rode mic to fix the crackling, Craig Matthews? I've not tried using, but they would plug into the same socket, so I'm not really sure it would do much. I don't think it's the microphone that's causing the crackling. You'll get noise when I do this, and you'll get noise when I do this. But I don't think these are the cause of the crackling, because it has stopped when I've paused the stream and then started it again, and it's maybe found an alternative route. Gaslight is a green tinge, doesn't it? It does indeed, Madam Bally. It's got a very distinct green tinge, as did the sulfur lamps, and also the little modern version of those, the little tic-tac RF excited lamps, which I've not taken any apart yet. Thank you, Goran, much appreciated. It will be used, but I've just bought a new bottle of Jägermeister, but I shall potentially buy another one. Will you do a teardown of a MSR machine? MSR. Not sure what that acronym stands for right now. Lamps come to mind. MSR lamps. Beard looking lovely and long. The beard is getting back to normal and most of the black has gone now. But there are a few strands that have grown slower than others that still have the black dye showing in them. Faint but definitely crackles for me. That's odd. Bluto had various outfits, Mark Pitt, in the cartoons. What are the flames behind you in the corridor? Looks like real flames. That is covered in a video. It's a little fake fireplace with a rotating shaft with bits of foil, shaped plastic foil, in front of several LEDs, so it creates the effect of flames going up. It looks quite good. Thank you, Henrik. Make 3D pyramid supercomputer with built-in battery. You could make a complete supercomputer using several of those. Thank you, Mr. Planet Man, much appreciated. You could make a self-contained supercomputer, rechargeable. Furbear has just linked to the Fire Simulator video. Mr. Eggcake says, lost my beard. Is this a work decision? Anywhere at work that kind of makes you shave your beard for fashion reasons or customer-facing reasons is out of date. Even Disney lets you have a beard these days, and tattoos. Have you stripped one of those fire water misters? Oh, the water misters, Mondo Daft brush that make it look like flames. They're just a row of ultrasonic atomizers as far as I know. Infinity mirror supercomputer could be quite nice, Raven Looney. Could be a bit cluttered. You'd have to kind of do it round the edge, but that could be viable. Sounds like Mike needs to be unplugged and plugged a couple of times. I could plug and unplug it, but it's not going to do any difference. I don't the crackling because I don't think it's the microphone that's causing it. I shall unplug it from the device, and the audio will then go strange. Tell me which is better. This is it with just the built-in microphone in the phone, and this is it with the microphone plugged in again. My dad told me I'd lose the family home and I worried myself mental. Oh, what's this? What's going on, Mr. Eggcake? Alopecia barbea. Oh, right, okay. Helpful parental advice. You didn't lose the family home, hopefully. Thank you, Squeak. I bought way too much kebab after fixing pinballs all day. Have some money because you're worth it. Why, thank you. And it wouldn't be a stream if I didn't chip in. It's much appreciated. Crackling is still there without the mic. It's a data connectivity thing. It's not the router because the router is different. It's a completely different one. Although not the main router. There is a wireless connection. The fox has been fed, says Happy Little Fox, a.k.a. Benji. What do you feed it and does it appreciate the food? Do a microphone poll. Could do a poll for that. Maybe you need some paraffin lamps. Yeah, paraffin lamps. My dad loved paraffin lamps. Quite often the rooms were lit with paraffin or gas, just because he liked old-fashioned stuff. He didn't like electrical stuff. When his house here was wired, he didn't want too many sockets because he didn't really approve of sockets because he's quite old-fashioned. And then he was all bothered because he couldn't plug his hi-fi into a socket in the right position because he didn't have enough sockets. Strange. He's very odd, but that's okay. Ah. My old local in Bristol still uses gas lamps to light the bar, as does the Royal. Is it the Crown or Royal Crown or something in Belfast? Mark Pitt. Some gas lamps, and there's some gas lights still around, but I think they're converting them to LED as much as possible just because, well, it's much less maintenance. John Payton, I think your issues last week was not seeing your stream as a NAT issue with your phone for multiple YouTube connections. It didn't happen on the following Thursday stream from the Isle of Man. Thank you, Mikey Yo-Yo. Hi, Clive. Say hello to my best neighbour, James. Your best, not the worst neighbour. Hello, James. The best neighbour for Mikey Yo-Yo. The Secret Raven, do you have any other way of contributing to you other than Super Chats? As YouTube take 50%, don't they? They don't quite take 50%. There are other ways. The way I recommend is Patreon, because then you get a lot more back. You get extra streams. It sounds like data packets being dropped. It happens, Colin Evans. It just, I mean, if you guys, I'll ask in a poll, will I try? Try restarting this stream in capital letters because it shouldn't drop the stream, but you never know what's going to happen. It's like if it's working, don't touch it, really. Jimbo, simulated gas lamps, the LEDs, they're okay, to be honest, like Disney. It's like their mantles were just a little fabric thing over a lamp and they look pretty good. Did I have a fine St. Patrick's Day? I didn't really know when St. Patrick's Day was. I don't really celebrate it. I'm not like. I want to point out that for all my friends in America who dressed up in green suits for St. Patrick's Day and drank green beer and wore green hats and things like that, we don't do that here. That's just strange. We look at you and go, oh, that's taking it to a new level. But I wouldn't expect anything less of the Americans. It's what you have to do. If it has to be done, it has to be done in excess. The majority of people are saying no, but they're the ones with good reception. What's the best PCB design software for prototyping, Paul Norman? It depends. I have just a preference. I use Sprint Layout, a paid-for package, but it's not super duper sophisticated. It's very art-motivated in the sense that I prefer to determine where the components are going and just lay the tracks to fit. More control. But popular choices these days, people are saying good things about Easy EDA, which is all online and your designs are stored in the cloud. And also, KiCad is growing up rapidly, I think, as being a free printed circuit board design package. Wasn't St. Patrick the man who got rid of the snakes? Yes, apparently so, Dave Ward, although I'm not convinced that he did play a whistle and they all followed him out. I think this is a load of bullshit, quite frankly. But then most of these things are. Was it anything to do with the religious industry? Well, there you go. Devilmere 2 says, love Sprint Layout. It just gives you total control over everything, but it's not going to design the circuit board for you. Is it the world's sleep day? Real Proteus. Well, last night I slept so well because while I was in Glasgow, the flat downstairs just coincidentally at the same time as being rewired, which involved lots of wrangling of walls, and using the little vibrating cutter. You know the ones that it's a multi-tool that it vibrates that then backwards and forwards. And you look at it and think, well, that looks utterly pointless and shit. And then you try one and you think, that's pretty good. It's good for cutting plaster and stuff like that. They were using that. But when someone applies that to the floor below while you're fast asleep, boy, is that a rude awakening. But anyway, are you back in the Isle of Man self-isolated, Roger Conliffe? Well, no COVID, so no need to self-isolate. Sprint Layout, €50. Will the cat... I should mention That's a one-off payment and that's it. Because once you paid for it, it's yours. It's not like these ones that say €50 a year and you've got to pay every year or it expires. You can't use the software you bought. No, I don't like that sort of stuff. What's wrong with the hand plasterboard saw, Craig Matthews? Once you try this, you'll realise what's wrong with the hand plasterboard saw, particularly the ones that go all bent and when you're actually trying to push them, they jam repeatedly and then they go at funny angles or snap. I have COVID. Fucking rubbish, man, says Stinky Mo. That's fine. You'll get over it and it'll be fine, probably. Easy ED is what it says in the can. Easy, Steve Perry. I really should give it a go. All the gear, no idea. Those vibrating cutters are excellent for lifting floorboard. Yes, they are, because they're basically plunge saws that you can go on the joist in the middle and you can actually cut the floorboard where they overlap on the joist. It's great. Will there still be live streams of the event of nuclear war? Yes, because as long as there is the infrastructure to get them up, I can run entirely off battery, and the EMP thing is all unmitigated hysteria. Well, we'll see when it happens, but to be honest, if the EMP thing happens and all the electronic stuff blows up, I think we'll have more to worry about than connecting to the internet to do live streams, but we'll see what happens. How's China? Do my Brazar? Well, China's in lockdown at the moment, obviously. But if you mean like unknown cat disappeared, who knows? Decomposing might be how China is, which would be a shame. But little Hutchie was in today. Hutchie's fine. Hutchie got catnip today and went berserk. Let me catch up here. Does the Isle of Man do day to light savings? Yes, it does. Rick's Rad Viz. The Isle of Man is basically the UK in disguise. We're not the Isle of Man. We're independent. We're not part of the UK at all. But we do everything the UK government tells us to do, and they take all the VAT. It's a load of shit. It's just part of the UK. Thank you, Voice of the Clan. They want you to have a fourth vac they can sod off. To be honest, I'm a bit pissed off with... I'm not going to go for any more boosters. I'm not into it anymore. The novelty has worn off. Congrats on the 247,000 views. It's actually rolled over. Hold on, let me just tell you. It rolled over today. Click, click. It rolled over 250,022,943 views earlier on. So it has actually, I've had 250 million views. That's quite a big number. Welcome to the Isle of Man Deviants. Well, there are a lot of deviants in Isle of Man, Human Seagull, more than I expected. 250 million license to drive indeed. That's a big number. Who the fuck still has a landline? Adol Shah. I don't have a landline anymore. Fiber optic, yeah. Make sure you're working Valve Radio. No, I don't. But I don't listen to the radio. I don't give a shit for it. The BBC says, now that we're recovering, you must do as your masters say. Fuck off, BBC. That was a rant, but only tongue-in-cheek. Thank you, Simon Allen. Just passing by and wishing you well. Thank you. It's much appreciated. I have spent the week in a COVID ward. Don't worry, I had a plastic apron. Apron says, all the gear, no idea. Ah, that would protect you. Drunkus Buffonius, better than my 6 views, I think. Well, at one point I had 6 views. I didn't really start this to be a big channel. Now I'm having to accept that it's quite a big channel. Kevin Hardesty is showing pictures of flames. What does that mean, I wonder? Oh, you know what? I don't think you need a license for radio. I tell you what. No, it's actually, I'm going to dilute it a bit more and see what happens. 1 moment, please. This is when with the wireless microphone, I could have continued to talk to you as I went through there. But I didn't. because I don't have the wireless microphone on. The wireless microphone is pretty good. Works well. I'd expect, though, it is Rode, and it's quite an expensive one. But I saw cheap Nokia knockoff type things on eBay, and I thought, let's do a search on YouTube for people reviewing them. And they're saying, oh, it sounds great. And I'm thinking, no, it doesn't. You're a shill. You've been paid to do that review. Let's add Woofle liquid in. St. Patrick's Day green Woofle liquid. I should put the Woofle juice down there. I shall grab my St. Patrick's Day green layer and make a little cloud of bubbles. Little fluffy little bubbles. One Woofle coming up. Oh. Like I'm surprised. It's when it detonates forcibly, because I accidentally did it with oxyacetylene. That would be real surprise. I wonder what would happen if you did this with oxyacetylene. This is when it would be quite handy, being back in sights. That's quite bumpy woomphy. Not sure, there must be an optimal ratio of laundry detergent to water. Talking of laundry detergent, I have a laundry detergent thing to show you. Oxyacetylene would detonate. Yes, it would. Indeed, it would detonate. I know this for bear because we used to work with it in the refrigeration industry, and it's really good. What's your opinion on university nowadays, Harris Chalk? I would say, whenever possible, get yourself a trade before diversifying into more, shall we say, particularly for technical people, get yourself a trade first. Don't bother about university until you got yourself a trade, because, well, it's good to get, by the end of your apprenticeship, you'll have been paid all the way through the apprenticeship, and you'll come out with a trade that you've got proven experience in, and you'll be fully employable. You come out of university, you've got $30,000, $100,000 debt and a bit of paper. So I do tend to say, go for apprenticeship, if possible. Preferably not with companies that send you in one-day slideshows. Definitely not in the entertainment industry. Get an apprenticeship with an actual trade. Even if the entertainment industry is companies claiming to offer apprenticeships, they're just getting funding. They can't offer a real apprenticeship. You're going to get much more diverse trade skills if you get a real job. And then use the entertainment industry as a hobby, which, if you're lucky, you might just go in the right direction. It'll become a lucrative hobby. Glycerin added to mixture, maybe. Toy to that. But if it's too thick, it's slower to ignite. And it's actually, the softer the bubbles, the more thinner the wall, the more it kabooms. I'm scrolling up to catch up. Did I go to uni? No, I went to technical college as day release from the apprenticeship. Thank you, Henrik. What happens if you mix vape liquid with the soap mix? I'm pretty sure we tried that and it wasn't that exciting. That paper will get you twice the income over a career. I'm not convinced about that. Only if you're one of the lucky ones who actually gets a real job out of it. Yes, Rob the Bob, we did used to blow up full bins of bin bags filled with oxyacetylene. It's extremely loud. Thank you, Peter Stevens. I thought Patreon increased their slice of the pie. I don't think so. I'm on Founders thing with Patreon. The one annoying thing is all the governments that added VAT, value-added tax, to the Patreon contributions. Patreon didn't have any control over that. I don't have control over that. They're just taking the money at source because they like money and they're finding ways to do it. Thank you, Squeak. You don't just get a piece of paper, cap and gown. You do get a cap and gown as well. Do you get to keep the gown? I'm not really sure. But an apprenticeship is very good. Mr. Cake says rather cryptically, what did you spend the £20 on? Not sure. You have to buy the gown. Oh, right, okay. Definitely second the apprenticeship route, says Pyromaniac. Learned way more in industry in 4 years than the people coming out of uni learning on tech that was 10 years old. Some hadn't seen SMD in mid 2000s. This is it. An apprenticeship exposes you to real technology. Do you know what I'm not wearing today? I said I was going to wear it and forgot. My Barrowland sweatshirt. Maybe put it on later on. Rent boys in Glasgow. They'd be unhygienic, DC Allen. Maybe I'm the rent boy. There's Hamilton Mechanical. Hello, Hamilton Mechanical. Soap water with a bit part of IPA for more flames. The incorrect ratio would be just dangerous. I know you want danger. But underwear. Did I say underwear? I don't know. Get plumbing apprenticeship. The world is full of shit. You always have a job at Barry Beedman. Plumbers are never out of work. It's dirty. People don't want to touch it. It's full of shit. Fine. Thank you, Henrik. Last on, mix alcohol on it just for curiosity. Do you want me to do one now with a bit of isopropyl? Will I do it? Self-employed, you're a whore, yet you're a whore yourself out for top dollar, Rick's Radsviz. I'm self-employed, yes, I'm a whore. I used to say at work just because I used to accept the work and say, because I'm a complete whore. Right, tell you what, one moment. Barrowland Sweater never knew they still made them. You can get all manner of Gaz Young Live of merchandise from Barrowlands. Underwear should be banned. I'm not so sure about that. It would be unsanitary. One moment, please. I would go, say when, but no, tell us about the sewage grinder, the Megavolt Meister, the Jobby Choppers. They're just horrible. I'm £60 an hour, says Squeak. That's more than me. Jesus. Maybe I'm not charging enough. I'm not charging enough. It's fine. I don't have a family. There's nobody to keep in stuff. Is this going to bubble? Is the fire extinguisher handy? Yes, it is. Maybe I should take the cap off the fire extinguisher, because you know what? It does strike me that in an emergency... Oh, the cap comes off automatically. That's fine then. Just a precaution. What could I do with this? I could put electronics into this. Whiffling. Rick's Radsvid, $75 an hour plus expenses. It will actually depend where you are in the world. It is bubbling. Was it different? Don't know. Whiffle. Oh, I think there's a bit more wimp to it. Maybe this could be the third ingredient. Water, isopropyl, alcohol, and detergent. Squeeze one out, Ellie Greeno. No, not in public. YouTube frowns on that. Do you know, I've just had a video put on restricted advertising. It's not even been released yet. It was about the clitoral suction stimulator from Poundland, so it's not really surprising, particularly because the video does actually contain a description of clitoral stimulation and the vagina. So I was kind of expecting it, but now they've actually just made the little dollar sign go yellow to show it's not green anymore, and it's not going to earn as much. Maybe I'll just go to town and say vibrating pussy sucking machine, quite frankly. Did it work? I don't have a clitoris 15 fake account, but it did work for what it does if you used it on a lady, probably. I've already changed the script. Not the script, the thumbnail, but the patrons got the real thumbnail. I just give the full title to the patrons because that way YouTube won't get too bothered with that. Then watch the yellow symbol go red, probably. But hey, that's it. It's fine. But anyway, I know a bit more about ladies now and what pleases them. It didn't seem that exciting to me, but clearly ladies have a very sensitive bit to that G-spot thing. Just got a replacement high speed since my home burned to the ground last year. Barry Beedman. Are we talking pinball here? Quite jolly, Roger. No, YouTube doesn't hate fun for ladies. It just doesn't really. It frowns on sexy words in case all the children get offended and all the Karens contact them and complain. John McFern, no, we can't have a plastic rabbit painted in the colours of the Russian flag undergoing an explosion because they're not taking sides like that. I think both the general Russian populace and the Ukrainians are both equally innocent in this situation. It just seems to be a few key figures, and if it was up to me, then I'd resolve these issues by removing the key figures. I'm surprised these days that they can actually not get bumped off. Bonsoir, nuts and proud. Sponsorship deal with Love Honey, Steve Perry. If I was going for sponsorship, it would be with probably Sensational, because they are a local company that is sponsoring the. Well, they basically own my gym that I go to. It's owned by a sex toy company. The machines are very odd, though. I mean, the ones where you're like, yeah. I mean, they're very good, but you know what? I don't. Why do they vibrate? I don't really know. But CameraTim.com, not Poundland as a sponsor, could do. I like the Triangle Supercomputer. The Triangle Supercomputer 1100 is courtesy of Evolution, available from Evolution's Etsy page. It's got a very high density of LEDs on it, almost too high density. They're just right up to each other. A lot of soldering. I do have another supercomputer has arrived. It's the Mark II version by Charles in Canada of this one, with improvements to the design. Bigger pads, and also a MOSFET in the back for variable intensity control option. Is it SMD, Craig Matthews? The LEDs are soldered in. This one is all SMD, but these ones have SMD resistors in the back, but soldered in surface LEDs. Traditional through-hole LEDs. We can make a pyramid supercomputer if you get 3 more round, Drew. Possibly, yes. With a hollow base. I'd love to see a billboard-sized supercomputer. So would I, license to drive. Wouldn't take too much power. You and Ashen should have Poundland sponsorship. Indeed, Clodfish. I'd be happy to be associated with Poundland. Do you need resistors on all the LEDs? I recommend that, Franco Walker. Technically speaking, with flashing LEDs, you could have one resistor or none at all for the whole lot. I recommend using resistor per LED for a couple of reasons. It spreads the current more evenly amongst them. The phone just did something. It just reminded me that to prevent overcharging, it was not putting a full charge in the moment. That's fine. Now the phone is distracting me. But I prefer resistor per LED. Also, that means that when you inevitably connect the polarity wrong to a supercomputer, the inside of a flashing LED, it's got a basically reverse protection diode. And if you do that, and you apply the wrong polarity to, without current limiting to a flashing LED, it will blow the diode and it will go short circuit and your LED will work no more. Last drive, need to get some famous conceptual artists, yeah, but then they take all the credit, like these neon artists who don't actually make the neon themselves. They just scribble on a bit of paper and then a neon artist does the actual work and they get all the credit. Can you turn the honeycomb shaped computer on? The honeycomb computer should be brought back in, but I don't have enough sockets for that right at the moment. But technically speaking, I wonder if you could put a low voltage, high current supply across a dead LED and just blow the diode clear. I'm not sure that'd be a good thing. What's the point of reverse protection diode that blows up when it's connected reversely, Seb W? Well, with proper polarity, with current limiting, it would protect the actual chip. Can you still buy flashing LEDs? Yes, you can. All the gear, no idea. AliExpress, definitely. James Preston says, PS the sec mic's better. Don't worry, I'm not hearing much a pop every few minutes, but it sounds like a compression artifact. Yeah, I think it is. LED piercings would be great. I covered that, Clodfish. LED piercings, where it's a little actual coaxial connector went through from the battery at the back to the lobe. Grounded nipple piercings not safe. You do get electric nipple clamps. Not sure that's a good idea. But anyway, let's take a look at the next random device from the Orient. So clean and fresh. Your laundry will be so fresh. And the reason I got this is because some pompous little English accent lady was saying, "Hi, save the environment with our little laundry sheets. Instead of using laundry detergent, which is all water, you just put these little sheets in." And they were selling little portions at high cost. And I thought, that'll be a Chinese product. And yes, it was. You can get 90 for a fraction of the price. So these are little sheets of a foamy material that smells like laundry detergent, and when you put them into water, they just instantly dissolve, and that's the surfactants and everything apparently going in. I put it in a bowl and I really agitated my fingers and it all frothed up the bubbles. So it does appear these do have a laundry detergent effect, but the idea is that instead of, what do they taste like? They specifically say, even in Chinese, don't eat them. They taste like laundry detergent. Not that I eat that much. Thank you, Michael Buckley. I've nothing more than a high school diploma. I get service for calls for equipment from across the US Northwest. A university degree is no guarantee of a successful career. Can I say that one of the best paying jobs, technical jobs, because there's always demand for them, because it requires good, diverse technical skills. I've said it before, elevator mechanic, lift engineer, elevator technician, because it's one of those jobs people don't want to do it because it's big and dangerous and you can get crushed and chopped in half and fall down shafts. That keeps jobs for us. Will it light? Nobody's even asked if I was going to light it yet. Yes, the laundry detergent sheets do burn and give off noxious fumes. And go brown and crispy. Black and crispy even. Tide Pod Rice Paper Challenge. It wouldn't surprise me if they did that, but it does, even in Chinese, it does say, put them out of the reach of kids and don't eat them. So that's good. I'll put this one out the way in case it sets fire to the rest of the box. Just texted my wife to eat it. She was like, what? Yes, I won't scroll too far back because then I'll lose my place in the chat. Did you hear about guitar amp people having trouble getting valves due to the Russian export ban? Do you know I have noticed something? People who contribute to the channel on PayPal from Russia have not been able to, PayPal's not been able to process the Russian contributions because it's the banking systems have been clamped down on. So they're basically all getting bumped off the PayPal system. Not any fault of theirs. If you're in that situation, don't worry about it, it's fine. Don't text while listening to Clive, indeed. But this 90 washes in a little box, but the question is, how good is the wash? Probably, given that you could just use water on its own without anything and still get a decent wash, it's probably not that bad. I don't know, how'd you prove it? I'd have to scientifically analyse and make the clothes dirty. I can't do what some YouTubers do, and they squirt tomato ketchup and rub grass and dirt all over things and then stick a vibrator in the water and say, well, it doesn't seem to remove the dirt. That's not surprising. It usually takes bio stuff to do that. This does say based on biological plant extracts in Chinese. Not really sure if it's biological. Will it give me a rash? I've just washed the first batch of clothing, including a pair of underpants, so I'll be able to tell you if it gives you a rash. Saves tonnage and transport costs, yes, CDEC Mike. But you can bet that if it comes across the UK, that they'll be saying 90 washes at only 20 pence each. That'll be £18. Is that about right? Yeah, something like that. But it'll be expensive because, well, it's all about, the manufacturers who had the huge bottles and they said, now for your convenience, the super concentrated version in a bottle, a tenth the size, but it's the same cost for the number of washes because they go by the number of washes you're going to get. But in reality, it saved them a lot of shipping and space and storage. I do washing, pre-wash, no detergent, and main wash with 1 cup, says Nuts and Proud. Cups of detergent? That's very old-fashioned. That's very American. Do you drink any green gin on St. Patrick's Day? No. No, I don't. Green gin. Gin with green food colouring, presumably. Creosan haven't been able to get any money. Their entire income lost, even from their English channels. It's weird because they're Ukrainian, not Russian. It's just been such a knee-jerk reaction. They're basically, all the people of Russia are being punished by... There must be financial benefits to other countries and banks doing this or something, I'm not really sure. It just seems a bit of knee-jerk and inappropriate action. And people saying, this particular big corporate supplier has not withdrawn all the products from the shelves from... Well, sure, let's make all the Russians, Ukrainians starve to death as part of this, just so we can get our ore in as well. No, don't do that. Fucking shoot Putin and be done with it, for fuck's sake. Don't you have drones? Ones that can't be got down by a Ukrainian lady throwing a big jar of pickles at a drone. Is this true? One pickle would have done it if she was a good shot, to be honest. All you need to do is get in the blades. Clive, is there a chance you could do a video on SMD capacitors, values and how to check whilst on boards? Thank you. 24/7 Hingy. Oh, depending on the type of capacitor. If it's electrolytic surface mount capacitors, just change them. If it's the little ceramic-y ones, very tricky, you'd probably have to desolder it from the board. Or at least to get the value and then just replace it with a new one anyway, because, yeah. Kia Eberhardt, no, not fuck Russia, because it's the majority of the Russian people aren't doing this. Just fuck the politicians. Thank you, Mr. Eggcake. I'm magnesium ferrate. Not sure, I'm not good at reading. Fracture. I don't even know what that is. No, I don't know. I'd Pritchard guess he's locked down and hiding. I would if I'd done something like this. Particularly with drones and things. I'm not going to go into politics here. Someone's saying the Russians aren't innocent because they're not doing anything about it. Well, maybe the Americans are all guilty of certain other wars then because they didn't do anything about it. Well, that's political. Let's not go there. And the British, we didn't do anything. We should have maybe bumped off Tony Blair. Then that would have helped. But we didn't. Thatcher, mumble, mumble. But anyway, no more politics. Politics, over. Anyway... I got a vape while I was away, a disposable vape, a big one that claimed 1,600 puffs because I wanted to see, okay, what size of battery is in that? Hold on, I shall open it. There's a battery. It's an 850 milliamp hour battery, so I'm not sure they're going to get that number of puffs from that, but I'm not sure what a puff is. Well, that type of puff. This is the liquid reservoir, and it's got the wicking material in it like the... Thank you, Paul Wenk. Saw an iconic drone the other day on video using the bladeless fan technology to make a quiet bladeless drone. Is it using ionic emitters and fins like what used to be called the electrostatic lifter? Because if it is, you need a shit ton of power and it has to be super high voltage and it's like ozone central. You'd actually smell the thing as it went past and everything. Probably the rubber would disintegrate into powder probably. Isn't Duran an IM politician? He's a commissioner. Kind of different, but also he does political stuff. Ah, scrolling up to catch up the conversation. I'll try and stay in the moment. But anyway, this isn't the first one of these I bought, because the first one I bought, I opened it up, it was banana flavour in this lovely pastel shade of yellow that reminded me of 1960s laundrette machines. They used to be pastel pink, blue and green and yellow. And I got it, and I opened the packet, and this was in a little sealed, little plastic packet. And it was all full of liquid at the bottom, and I was thinking, oh God, I bet that soaked into the electronics. I went, nothing happened. It's dead. And I thought, oh, that's annoying. I wonder why all the liquid leaked out. And you think, why would all the liquid leak out? I know why. All the liquid was out of it, and it's much more interesting. When I took it apart, I didn't return it to the shop. I didn't really think I was going to get my money back because it was that type of shop, that is, corner shop. Anyway, but I'm not bothered because it turned out to be really interesting. The battery still had a bit of charge in it, still within its rating to actually recharge it. Once I'd washed it off, it charged up. It's got an interesting fault. That's why all the liquid was in the packet. A scary fault. So I brought bits over to the Isle of Man. I'll make a video about it. This one, all the original liquid is gone. And the battery is recharged. So this one now has nicotine-free liquid in it. I shouldn't have said bladeless. It has no rotors. I'll have to take a look at that. We'll see. Because there are ones that have no moving parts, theoretically, but I'm not really sure. No way to extract the juicy nicotine. Well, you can take the liquid back out of them. I also got a couple more just to compare because I wondered, are these all from the same factory? Do they have the same construction? The answer is sadly no. Although they've got the same multiple layer, this one has been open. And it's got a little rubber seal inside, and then the battery, it says 500 milliamp hour on the packet. It's not, it's 400 milliamp hour. They are cheating. But these ones, hold on, these ones light up brightly and taste like air freshener and carry the potent level of nicotine. Watch this give me a huge nicotine hit in a moment and make me go all dizzy. No, I'm not addicted to nicotine yet that I know of. I've been doing my best playing with these things, but at the moment, it seems to be a transient effect and it doesn't make me rush back for more. Then again, they have discovered. Oh, it's a Dyson, like a Dyson fan, the blades are inside. Oh, right, I can see, that's good. Is it efficient? Because that would certainly stop chopping people up when they land on them. I've seen ultrasonic vape in a vape shop. Any idea how it works? Demon Arsha. That will be like the little, oh, I could show you one moment. Here is a pink one. And it puts the jet of vapor out. You can see the vapor blowing out. I guess that's how it works, the little vapor disc. And it's odd because the first one's made by Ryan, the electronic cigars made for casinos so that people would stay at the tables in Japan, used ultrasonic atomizers. But it turns out the technology in these ones, the wick with the heater wire around it, is so much simpler, so much denser. It's just like the simplest they could make it produces astounding effects at the lowest cost. So this is the technology that won. I'm surprised if they brought ultrasonic back. The only thing I could think they'd want to do that for is is to create low fog vapor so people could take nicotine in the privacy of their own home, or in public places actually, more like it. Will you continue to broadcast if WW3 starts? Thomas McBurney will all go into weapon and technology. Chronic gaming, ultrasonic vape, and ultrasonic asthma nebulizer with vape fluid. Yes, that's more or less it. Jerry BVR, just because I'm actually doing this in a live stream doesn't mean I'm just doing it every waking moment of the day. I'm going to have another one. I'm obviously not breathing in properly enough. It's not hitting like it used to. Oh, ZX Renew just found out your cousin has died. That's horrible. That's not a good thing to find out. And the timing is such. Yeah, not sure. That's not nice. I wonder what they died of. I wonder if it was natural or otherwise. I wonder what age they were. It's always sad when people die. First sign of addiction. Oh no, you're addicted now. Excellent. I certainly don't rush to it. The first thing I do is usually change them for my own liquid. Suck the damn thing. Yes. Your communion. I feel a bit awkward doing this, but ZX Renew, this is in memory of your cousin. Toast to Jägermeister. Could but not a good thing. But then people pass away all the time. I was discussing this with Ralph. He's had a busy, busy week. Oh, he's got a morbid case. Well, to me it's morbid, but to him it's normal. And Ralph's is like, so I have a really interesting one next week. I have to preserve the body until the funeral in June. Because the family involved can't really all get together until June. Why do they keep a body for so long? That seems odd. Toasting with 100% rye Canadian whiskey. Barry Beedman. I tell you what, I'm kind of glad I'm not doing Jägermunions with that whiskey Ralph had in Glasgow because, God, that's so strong. It's like, what do you do with that? Okay, someone said dilute it with water. That seems kind of pointless. Took me one cig to get addicted, Willie Armour. Here's an interesting thing. I think that some people are very susceptible to becoming addicted and others aren't. Some research showed that kids who have started vaping, because I suppose it's better than starting cigarettes, the kids often didn't continue vaping. The novelty wore off and they stopped. Because it turns out that cigarettes have a shit ton more chemicals in them, put there by the tobacco industry to keep you addicted. It's not all about the nicotine. Thank you, License to Drive. Your pub name be called One Moment, please. I don't know, what would the pub be called? What would the pub? It would be an interesting pub. ADD correlates with addiction. There is a certain, it's probably a rather destructive approach here, that I have partaken of quite a lot of nicotine from these to see if I can get addicted and then see how hard it is to give up again afterwards. So far, the novelty wears off very quickly and it makes me feel sick, and then I just go back to but I don't normally vape. It's just I do it for novelty more than anything else. I like the technology. I'm not really into the doing it. The ozone, it could be called the ozone. I could open a pub like they have in Paris called the Bear's Den. Gregory Thomas says, vaping is taking me from 75 cigarettes a day to 2. That's a good result. It could be called technical family squeak. That would kind of exclude non-technical people. Good. Oh God, it's hot. This is a new shirt. Same brand. It's just a brand new one. I left the other one in Glasgow because I thought, it's really mild weather and I'm going to be hot. And I was on the bus and thinking, I'm glad I don't have this jacket on. And then I was at the airport and I'm definitely glad I don't have it. And then I was in the plane. It was, glad not. Barry Beednow, certified BJCP beer judge, so I had to learn all that in detail. Off to judge at Canadian National Beer Awards next week. The hot big Clive, yes, indeed, Zinda Magic Puffer Dragon. I was in 68 cigs a day and went quite cold turkey. The first 2 weeks were hell, but stuck to it. The chipmunk, I need to do that with snacks and food. Got your spin says, my house is too hot, 27.5 degrees Celsius, that's swelteringly hot. Installed a wood burner, no more gas bills that have to keep opening the windows. Yeah. You can close the air vent in the wood burner and it burns slower, or put less wood in it. But then it's the temptation when you first get a wood burner is just to go for that radiant heat they give off. It's outstanding. Yes. I could do something confusing. I could call it the gay bar and then say no gays. I was in Delmonico's a lot while I was in Glasgow. They're refitting it. They're doing the backup. I wonder what it's going to be like. I like Delmonico's because the staff are always really, actually, genuinely happy. That's so hard to find. They're cheery. They're really. It's like they actually enjoy working there, and the atmosphere is good. Okay, there was a guy who was very pissed and said, came up to me and was like, could you look after my drink while I go to the toilet? And then he came back up and just forgot, and he was going around all the tables looking for it. The drink. But anyway, we're still on pub suggestion names. Please disassemble the games machines. Well, actually, if I had a pub with games machines, they'd have clear plastic backs or cases so you could see the inside. On the news today, they mentioned the Russian Association of Patriotic Entrepreneurs. That's RAPE, Hopeful Travel. That's a bad choice of acronym, yes. Thank you, Frank. How many charges for new 18650 for full capacity? Oh, you're not going to get full capacity. The capacity will reduce progressively with every charge. I worked out the ones in this, there's 3 cells, and it's reducing 15 milliamp capacity per charge. So you're dropping 5 milliamps for a full cycle. You're dropping 5 milliamp hour per charge typically. Franco Walk says, I always wanted pubs just so I could call it the Vampire Virgin. To be honest, is owning a pub a good idea? You'd probably make more money with a coffee shop. Not that I have any plans to open a coffee shop because there's far too many cafes and restaurants here, all vying for business. Frank says I got scammed. What? It happens a lot. Mouse says I wrote, oh. Was there an out-of-line comment? Pub is a cash cow for the government, yes. But it would be a great pub. It would be or a cafe. It would be technologically themed and there'd be lots of neon. Let's bring back the neon. Since the stream is well in progress now. So for those of you who didn't see it before, there is a script in the description of this video down below for that if you type in the diameter you want, you type in the thickness of the lip, and you type in the width of the base of your LED neon, it will create you a custom circle of any size you want with a hole for the cable to go through. I did also consider a couple of holes for screws, but maybe that's better just left up to whoever wants to do it. But once you've done that, you can then power it up and you've got a nice bright neon circle with a slight seam here, but not to worry. That happens with real neon too. It's smaller with this, but you can size the thing, because keep in mind it goes in 25mm increments with the 12 volts and stuff, but you can experiment the size if you're making a lot of these to get it just perfect, that they all met up. Thank you, John McFerrin. Can you please stop watching the full fluid with petrol for extra flamage? No, I can't. That would be a bad idea because the petrol would probably float and ignite, which might be your idea. green. Costa and Lime Street Station scammed me today. Charged me £3.50 a coffee. That's pretty normal, Aaron Meller. And that's what I paid for a coffee at Costa today. Thank you, Squeak. Get an arcade instead. Pinballs, Neon's videos. A barcade. Combine the two. Drink while playing games. But having said that, I want people to drink really fast so I make lots of money and not just faff around playing games. The plug it in. It could be Meg's Electric stuff. Was there supposed to be a pole? No. Can you jump through your hoop? Get my hand through. It's a portal. The portal's the wall. And do you know what inspired this? It was that sign that's in the thumbnail of this video. It's a beautiful sign. It's one of the most attractive signs I've seen in ages. The Cosmos sign with the... If you look at the logo, it's all one continuous line all through, and there's no seam in it. And it is, when you look up close, it's been custom made from scratch, that logo, with presumably a fin coming down from the front cover with the LED tape round the side, sideways, and then sat into the housing. And it works really well. It's such an attractive sign. The bus bar would work. Someone else already suggested that, Chronic Game, I think, but bus bar is good. It could also be used. You could place your drink into it. This is a battery. I'm not placing the battery into it. It's time to pour a drink. Deactivate the portal. I shall put that there. I shall put the battery pack there as well. I'll show you the others that I made experimentally. Circular one and an octagonal one. I have to be honest though, the octagonal one will only work if you do bigger sizes, because you have to make this a bit bigger just to allow easy flex of the knee around the corner. It does tend to make it look round, so you'd have to go, once you were bigger it would actually look more vivid. Probably better hexagonal than octagonal, but you can make them any size. And technically speaking, if I revisited the code, you could actually make a series of circles with support going through, so it would actually make a series of different coloured rings. Then they could be animated and they could pulse in and out. That could be quite nice. Jan Robert Newgarden, you hold it up to your face, remind me of the scanners from the Riddick movie. Not sure about that one. So technologically, let's move on to the next subject, since it's all going a bit weird in the comments and chat right now. Mainly the chat. Those rings are designed to be printed very quickly. There's very little plastic in them, 5 or 10 grams. They print in about 15 minutes to half an hour, depending on the size. The Philips lamp is very expensive. It comes in at £12. £10 plus the VAT adds the other £2. This one is rated 4 watts. It has 8 filaments, so 2 watts per filament, but they're slightly longer. This is the one that's designed, it's the Dubai lamp for the rest of us, so it's slightly different from the original Dubai lamp. But as mentioned earlier in the stream, the white has a definite bias towards the green end of the spectrum. Well, the green is in the middle of the spectrum. That makes me wonder if they've optimized the color for maximum efficiency at the highest human perception, which is in the middle of the spectrum. But it looks fine. It looks okay. I wonder if the circuitry is the same. There's going to be one way to find out, and that is to open it and, well, reverse engineer it. What is the circuitry in there? I wonder if the circuitry is going to be different. We'll find out in due course. 15 fake account, we got 24% VAT here. Yeah, it's good. You work, you get taxed, and then they apply more tax when you buy stuff, and even more tax if you actually have to buy fuel to go to work in your van. And the cost of vans is going through the roof. Society needs a reset. What 3D printer are you using and why, Dan Forster? The one I'm using mostly these days is the FL Sun Q5, just because it's convenient and it's there and ready to go. Is the tax the same in the Isle of Man, Mr. Eggcake? The tax system is different. It's one fixed rate of about 20%. It benefits the incredibly rich people who you don't go into different levels where in the UK, if you work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and you earn a really high income by virtue of the fact that you had no choice but to just work those hours because of your job, they will hammer you with 40% or higher tax. So they're basically taking a lot of your life away from you. Fuck them. That was also a political statement. I'm not very happy with governments altogether. They're all rotten. They need removed. Political statements. Cup going through. This is without alcohol. Wait till I have the alcohol. Oh, the governments are getting it then. Today's alcoholic beverage. Where's the glass? The glass is not through here. Apparently it is through here, but is hiding behind the bottle of cream soda. Rum. The Sailor Jerry rum. Thank you, Star Delta. And American cream soda. Obvious it's from America. That's why it's called American cream soda. Does MI5 have a filing, Clive? They've got an entire filing cabinet, big as Dickus. They've probably got cameras in here. Mumble, masturbation, mumble. It should say where it's bottled somewhere on it. Yeah, it probably will. I wish they'd get over using big, huge bottles and just let you either refill them in a place or just everybody have soda streams at home and but proper ones that don't cost you a fortune for a small sniff of gas, but that's not going to happen. Where is it bottled? AG Bar. Since 1875 they've been sticking carbon dioxide into liquid. Where is it made? G Bar. AG Bar. Fitzwilliam Hall, Dublin. And Glasgow. Not sure where they're made though. Who knows? I wonder how much I wonder if you actually boiled all the water off. How much syrup would there be at the bottom? Thank you, Lily. I have 3 of the giant 12-foot tall LED filament lamps. 12-inch tall LED filament lamps. They're very warm, look amazing. They're huge spiral filaments. They're also dimmable. They are quite nice. It's quite relaxing on the eye. But yes, I think I probably got on some lists early on. I was right on the explosives forums when I was young. Yeah. Terrorist Cookbook and Anarchist's Cookbook, yes, I did download them. They were rubbish. Honestly, even I knew at that young-ish age that a lot of the stuff in them, simply electronics. You're right, I could distill it. And if I distilled it and then added the concentrate, that's a good idea. That is a very good idea. And see if I can reconstitute it back into cream soda or if something else comes off it. Tell us more about that radioactive ration heater. It was amazing, Dan Forster. It was fake. It was actually the insert out of a smaller vaping device, and it had a little brazing rod down the middle of it. It was filled with water and drain tracer dye, And the outer heatsink fin was the roller. It was a glass fiber consolidation roller. Sorry to break the news to you. It was fake, but you can rest assured if they were real, I would have a collection of them. But the terrorist cookbook, it was full. It was like people had just heard things and they just put it down as being facts, and it was rubbish. It's really not. Uh, I mean, I'm not an expert in such things, but yeah, it was a load of shite. And some of the things they showed you were just, well, it wasn't pictures then. It predated that. It was early on the internet. So there weren't really much in the pictures. A lot of the recipes they gave you were just outright dangerous. The people that would have ended up being blown up would be the people with the terrorist cookbook. So it was a load of shit, and then they banned it, of course, and said you can't have it because you're not authorized to blow people up. And that probably made it more desirable. That gave it more credibility. Quite frankly, it has no credibility. Distill it and add the concentrate to vodka. You could, Joshua S. That'd be quite strong cream soda vodka. But it'd be interesting measuring how much was left. Sparkler bombs are fun. The chipmunk, it does use quite a lot of sparklers up at once. All you do is basically clump loads of sparklers together, and then once it starts going, it self-sustains forcibly. We're approaching April's Fool's Day. An interesting tale, Simon York? Not really. And I won't be putting an April's Fool thing out on April's Fool's Day because that's the worst day to do it because everybody's expecting it. I'd rather do something better. Something similar, but at another time of year when it was not being suspected. You mean the anarchist cookbook from the 1970s or something else? Goodness knows. I mean, when did I go on the internet? It wasn't 1970s. I downloaded it from the internet. The chipmunk says, of a theory that the anarchist cookbook is designed to help idiots Darwinate, it would most likely have worked for that. It probably did bump a few people off. It was rubbish. Ah. I wonder if other videos are fake too. There are very few fake videos on my channel. 15 fake account. But I'm sure other people have them. There was the Jolly Roger cookbook, the anarchist cookbook, the terrorist cookbook, or whatever. It had loads of names. It's probably the same thing. I had it on a floppy, Raven Looney. I printed it off. It was a lot of paper on a dot matrix printer. To be honest, making a bin requires understanding knowledge. Making a firework requires understanding knowledge. The geeks, the people who make pyro, and there are a lot of firework enthusiasts, it's a lot of gear, including ball mills with the, you don't put your balls in them, obviously, but they use bronze balls because they don't spark as much. And the recipe for gunpowder is basically charcoal, potassium nitrate, and sulfur. But if you just got potassium, charcoal, and potassium nitrate, and you just mix them all together and lit it, it might go and burn, but it's not going to detonate. There's a science. You have to like mix it together and get it wet into a paste, really mix it thoroughly, and then dry it, and then grind it down again. The grain size matters. The blending of it matters. The ingredients matter. It's a science. It's like, it is absolutely a precise science. Ray McLeod doesn't spark as much, yeah, but the other thing about those drums, those ball mills, is you don't point them and you don't look into the end of them while it's full of blimmin' gunpowder. Black powder, sorry, which we're supposed to call it, I think. I'm not really sure. I've never made it, but I have mixed potassium nitrate with sugar, which makes smoke bombs. That's great. Smells great as well. The charcoal, the true aficionado's bottom shot. Charcoal plays a vital role as well. The charcoal from, is it willow trees or something? There's a specific tree produces the best charcoal. Bald and Bankrupt has gone silent, Luciano. Maybe just struggling with content or something, not really sure. I tell you who else has gone silent, which is quite worrying. MI Heating Guy has gone very quiet. For 3 months he's not released a video. I hope he's okay. Flash powder is aluminium powder, is it not? Is it also potassium nitrate? Or is it something else? But it's a two-component. They used to sell it in the theatre industry as two separate tubs. You mix it together before use because it was two fairly inert things, and you mix them together and then they become flash powder. It's more dangerous. Willow or alder makes great black powder, says Pyromaniac. I would expect that with a name like Pyromaniac. I'd love a star gun. Star guns are what... Oh, there's Joe HVACR North. Star guns are what the pyrotechnicians, the pyromaniacs, they use to test their stars, the starburst shell stars. And it's a gun that they fire a star out of. That must look really sci-fi. That's a bit like when you hold Roman candles, even though it says you're not supposed to hold them, but you hold them anyway and it shoots colourful fireballs out. It's great. I don't recommend that, obviously. It's great. It may blow up. You may get hurt. Aluminium and iron oxide equal thermite. Bob S. That is correct. And you can buy thermite kits on the internet. Dave Buchan, Big Clive, love your build vids. Any chance of live build along vid? I suppose could do that, but it would mean everybody having to get the bits unless we roughed it together out of stuff everybody had. A recent one, the battery charger, the nickel metal hydride trickle charger. It's been very interesting. It's been very popular, should I say. It's got a lot of interest. Fireworks are not as good as they used to be, Djangoholic. Your expectations have gone up, but also the safety has got in the way, and really, the ones that took you within an inch of your life were the best. Mystery Technology, my brother and I used to have duels of Roman candles. Have you seen the drones with Roman candles mounted on them? They're great, and just people fleeing everywhere. I just about torched a building with a Roman candle. Let's probably not talk about that. I wasn't really thinking it through, was I? No. Firing at a roller shutter door, thinking for some reason the stars would just stop when they hit the roller shutter door. They shattered into lots of bits of blazing pieces and shot everywhere, including into areas with combustible materials. It was and once you've lit it, it's not going to go out. That was pretty intense. It didn't go on fire, but everybody was like screaming a lot. But these things happen. If you ever work with me, you're just going to have to get used to this. It's just what happens. Nitroglycerin paintballs. You do get zirconium paintballs, redneck atheists, that are used to create the sort of sparking bullet shots. The chipmunk, accidental arsonist, except for that church that I poked matches through the ventilation grill, but let's not talk about that either. Fireworks intense. Yes. Iodine household ammonia makes a nice bang when dried. You have to get the concentrated ammonia. You can't. I don't know if you can do it with a dilute, but it makes the touch sensitive. It's an oversensitive explosive that it can go off unexpectedly. We probably shouldn't talk about explosive. All the gear, no idea. Arrest me. It's fine. Stop being so government compliant. Thank you, Al. Captain Kirk made gunpowder from raw materials in a few seconds, then shot an alien with it easy peasy. Welcome to the movies, yes. There are a few people on the stream right now who could make significant things if there was a war, yes. Ammonium triiodide. That's the one, Flossie. Oh, Furbear, if you're having internet connectivity issues. Woofle. Oh, it's woofle time. It is. There's still some isopropanol in it. Yes, there is. Washing laundry detergent and isopropanol are coming to mind here. Woofle. I'm not sure. It's very hard. I'd have to do a multiple woofle test. Woofle. It goes up quite quickly. More IPA. I'm not sure. There's a point that it may actually affect the surfactant. I'm not sure what would happen there. Let's add some more IPA nonetheless. There's a point that it's going to be too much IPA and it's going to sustain flame itself and it's not going to be very good. But then this is science. Oh, too much IPA. No bubbles. No bubbles. Too much IPA ruins the action of the surfactant. That's your answer. Oh, very IPA. Now, Joe, HVACR North, I'm not going to say it's not because HVAC overtime was boring or anything, but I did actually manage to pull a tooth out during the HVAC overtime stream last night. It was very loose, it was annoying me. I may have used mechanical assistant. It's surprisingly, for a tooth, it really took a lot to pull it out. It was annoying. One step closer to false teeth. No bubble bath in IPA. I wouldn't really recommend a bath full of IPA. You did what? Zap Sparky? I pulled a tooth out. I did almost consider videoing it. I thought, no. Mirth 38, the tooth hurts. It doesn't now. How many teeth are left? Tons. Enough to eat. That's the main thing. Do you use a spudger? No, I did much worse than that, the happy little fox, aka Benji. I used a pair of plier type things. 3D printed dentures. I think every mouth's different, but it wouldn't surprise me if someone makes a 3D tooth printer. Tooth talk is unsettling, it is. Do patrons get free dentistry? I can take your teeth out if you want, Mike Hanley. eBay your tooth. It's not a very pretty tooth. Do you want to see it up close? Do you know how sharp its single root is? It's really odd. It's incredibly sharp. And it's also filled with the light cured resin. I might experiment and see just how hard it is. Pyromaniac says, my teeth implants are 3D printed. They do use 3D printing in the dental industry. It makes sense. Here's a script you can customize to your mouth, Jonas. It would have, if I 3D printed them, it would have wire strippers built in and everything. It'd be really useful. Are you going for a while? Just let it all fall out and continue without? Not really sure. Mike's Electric Stuff says there is a 3D tooth scanner and CNC machining system replacements called Serac. Is it a coin-operated machine though? You just clamp onto the thing and put your money in. This terrible thought came to mind. A piece of circuit board material and maybe some current limiting resistors and just clamp your mouth around this and push the button. That'd be terrible. Oh, that would hurt so much. Where's my false teeth? There aren't any. Is that the complete route? I think it is. There's no sign. I thought there was going to be 2 spiky bits, but I don't see them. It's fine. A 3D printed chainsaw teeth. I'm not sure that would be good for your tongue. Dents are tight with their money, not going by the posh cars they have round here, Jangaholic. Mike, what was the chemical they used to fill high voltage probes with? I thought they used mineral oil in high voltage probes, all the gear, no idea. But there is probably the perfect chemical for that. And if MD's going to know, it's going to be Mike. Mike's Electric Stuff. The back ones have 2 spiky bits. This was a front one. Your gums will push out anything left. They will, Laura Mipsum. I've got a spare tooth actually ready. It's just in storage because I've seen the x-ray and it's just a spare tooth that never came through. So I've got an extra tooth in there. Ah. But LED teeth, I'm not sure that'd be nice. Front teeth, this is a front tooth of a single root. Posteriors have between 2 and 5. Oh, I've had some taken out before, and the roots were all curved and everything. They were horrific. Tell you what, the tooth was loose, but it took a lot to get it out. I could show you the tool I used to get out with, but yeah, it's not, it would, you wouldn't like it. Ralph could pick you up a used pair from where he could get me teeth. He could just sneak them out here and there. Mr. Eggcake, they sit on a sports car but look like a worm in a diamond. What? Tektronix used to use fluorinated hydrocarbon, but now uses silicon oil. I guess that was just the sort of MSDS thing, Cambridge Mart. But silicon oil would make sense. Thank you, Eric the King, the King, the King. You need those vampire pliers. That's a real thing, honestly. Vampire pliers. I'm going to look that up now. Vampire pliers. Vampires. All right, okay. It's a vampire tool company, but is there a specific type of plier? I'm not really sure. Oh, screw extractor pliers. I've not come across those. Thank you, Kenneth Evoy. A toonie from Canada to celebrate my backyard fire. I hope it wasn't a bad, but I hope it was an intentional backyard fire. Canadians have lots of fires because, well, heat. Middle-aged fat cunts with a bored-looking blonde thing, Mr. Eggcake. Welcome to the Isle of Man. That's what all the dentists are aiming at here, rich people. Oh, Project Farm did a video on them. I'll have to take a look for that, Horrorvac. Project Farm rarely does bad videos. He really puts a lot of work into his videos. Why do you melt copper like Nick Bundy of copper teeth, Callum Rowley? There might be advantages to copper teeth. Japanese engineer brand pliers are also very good for screw extraction. You get dedicated screw extractors though, quite jolly Roger, but that's good. The tooth had been wobbling for ages and I thought, you know, I will go to the dentist at some point, but I thought that is so annoying. It wobbles, but it doesn't come out. Do you want to, hold on. Oh, here's the thing. Right, I'll do a poll. Do you want to see what I pulled the tooth out with? Scooter Summers Produce Farm does great work, but the cadence of his voice makes me feel he's yelling at me the entire time. I wonder if he's doing the same thing as Electroboom did, and he was actually shouting initially because of the microphone wasn't that sensitive. A lot of people saying no, but 83% so far saying yes. Did it hurt, Peter Stevens? There were sensations, but not really, no, because it was dead. You know what I want to see? Oh. Barry Beeman, I did Home Burn Down in 2020, not purely Canadian thing. Oh. Has Thomas Nagy resurfaced? Yes, he has, Topaz. 1888. The industrial estate, there were a couple industrial units next to each other, including a garage with all the vehicle lifts, things like that. The landlady doubled the rent from something like 35 to, was it 70? She over doubled the rent. Which meant everybody had to move out, and she was either just trying to get rid of them, or she was just getting greedy. I've no time for these fucking land speculators. But he's back, and the garage was going nuts because they had to get all their gear moved out and find a new place. Oh, I fucking hate landlords. Property scumbags. Yeah, about 70,000, yeah. So over £1,000 a week for a workshop. and you have to keep the work coming in. Oh, he was very polite. He didn't say what I was thinking about that particular landlady. It was very unfavourable. What about John Ward? John Ward occasionally goes sort of like out of sight when he's busy at work. He goes through bursts. Paul, resurrect Mr. Bun Buns. Anyway, the emphasis was you wanted to see the pliers. They came off eBay. They weren't that expensive, but I guess the best way to remove a wobbly teeth, the wobbly teeth that just won't come out, was a pair of tooth extraction pliers. With a little curved bit in the end. You're talking about screw extractors. These are designed for extracting cylindrical things. So have you squirming yet? Are you squirming? I did. I tell you what, I was saying, is this just going to snap? No, they're really strong, and it did come out. Did you numb yourself? No, I didn't even have a drink, Claudefish. I was thinking I should have had a drink before this. That's cheating. It is kind of cheating. It is the best tool for the job, the Chipmunk. What brand are they? eBay. Probably generic Chinese. There is no brand on them, but they're quite nicely made. With a little screw for tightening them. You don't often get the little screw for tightening these. Oh, no. Oh, it says stainless CE. Oh, no. Hold on. www.fortuneclipper.co.uk. Was it that who I bought them? Fortune Clipper. Why'd you buy them? No, it's not a paid review. I'm not sure that would be a good paid review, Big Dave. Hi, today I'm going to be reviewing these tooth extraction pliers. This is the 5th take, and now I think that's it, and I got £10 for doing this. Yes, indeed. Is it safe? Good ones are German-made, Sofa Loafer. That's very opinionated. Shit ones are Indian and Chinese-made. That's very accurate. Oh, can I crush an LED with them? Hold on, because an LED is a bit tooth-like. One LED coming up. Right. It grips them very tightly. Yes, it crushes LEDs. So that's useful. Off to polish my top hat with some mercury, says Squeak. Replace your teeth with LEDs of Kirka. They would definitely have a bright smile. Imagine that LED was a tooth. I'd rather not, Felix Moore. But it does. I didn't use that much force. It gripped the tooth very tightly without actually putting too much pressure. It was surprising. Oh no, crushing your teeth, that's not good. No. I was worried about that. Can you touch testicle? It would have to be bigger. I mean, really, seriously? Are your testicles this? Would they fit in here? Oh well, probably a penis would fit in there. Oh. Will it crush resistors? Who needs to crush resistors, Ellie Greeno? We can set Farton. That was a popular video. How many views did that get? That was very good. Paul Marie, thank you for your contribution that came in. You sent a little super chat just before. Everything went pear-shaped in that stream. My apologies for that. Thank you for that contribution. Has spring sprung there, man? Yes. The indication of spring, the first indication is the flowers coming up, snowdrops and crocuses. Crocuses are the first, and then daffodils will be next. So do you use straw hat LEDs or standard dome ones? I'm not really sure. I think I'd actually just want to build them into the things. It's like removing a bayonet bulb. There was a bit of wiggling going on. UK Super Rascal says, if you have a toothache, just cover the tooth with table salt. 20 minutes later, no toothache. Really? That does kind of make sense because the desensitizing toothpaste contain potassium nitrate. That's an explosive compound. But maybe it's the salts. That's got nothing to do. Potassium nitrate has nothing to do with sodium, does it? Chloride. But I'll keep that in mind. Furbear says nonsense. I'm not sure what the conversation's about though. Did you hear the crack? There was no crack. Oh, I think the hydraulic press channel crushed teeth that went to powder. I wonder what force it took. Would that LED tape stick to your teeth? That would be unpleasant. The 240 volt one. Clove oil, that's what I've used, clove oil, but I'm willing to give the salt a go if it ever happens. I had a tooth removed a while back by a dentist, Henrik in Douglas, and he was struggling to get that out, and it ended up like I must have been going white because he kept saying you okay, and apparently he told me afterwards I had gone white, and apparently that happens. Just I didn't feel white, but apparently I go white. The body's saying, oh, there's something happening up there. Get all the blood away from the head. And he really struggled. And by the time he'd done it, he started hyperventilating and rushed out the room. That's not really, his assistant then took over. And that's concerning. Oh, Henrik, he's fine. Kind of almost geeky. Takes things so seriously. Henrik, chill out. Relax. Clove oil is the bomb. Clove oil? Yes, it is. Paulson Marie. Oh, yeah, clove on your lips. It burns. Two supercomputer glasses would look cool. Somebody made Bill of HVAC Overtime a pair of supercomputer glasses. Yes. Anyway, it's all gone dental in the chat now. Right, so we'll change the subject again, shall we? Yes. I shall suck upon the pink lemonade just as a moment. What flavouring? The flavouring is so toxic in these, probably. It's so strong. It's odd. Whiskey is good for toothache. That's worth keeping in mind. So I managed to get Ralph something that he actually liked. This is rare. When I was in Glasgow, I got Ralph an Easter egg from Lidl, and Ralph likes Madagascan chocolate, specifically Madagascan. It's his favourite type of chocolate, common enough here. And Lidl had these single source Madagascan chocolate Easter eggs, and they were really well made. They had this sort of like the lizard and leaves and sort of Maya type sort of image embossed into the egg, or actually raised in the egg. And then they dusted it with what they called iron oxides, rust, to give it a copper finish, but dusted like spaceship been through space quite a lot, that dusted, mottled surface finish. It looked attractive. Can't Ralph provide you teeth? Someone has already suggested that, Okirka. I'm not sure that extracting teeth out of corpses for general use, you could get me some false teeth maybe, I'm not really sure. These ones don't fit, Ralph. Get another pair. Salt kills the nerves. It works. I've used it many times. I suffer from gum disease in my early 20s. All my teeth rot from the inside out. Oh, that's lovely. But this happens. And then look at Kevin and June. Kevin in particular, the lineman. His teeth are perfect. Not a single filling at all, ever. What is it? It must be genetic. The mayons from Madagascar, I know what, look kind of mayonish. Well, I bet there are some there. Sonic Biz, and they made the chocolate egg. Talk about those fairground strobes. How were they controlled, Megavolt Meister? The first fairground strobes, the First ones did have a control system, but usually they just turned power onto them. And they wouldn't draw current immediately. They would do a timer so that it didn't cause a huge current surge, although you'd be breaking the current if you turned them off while they were strobing. Um, but most of them were just turn them on and they strobe. Mine, the first one was computerized. It used a PIC microcontroller, which was a terrible idea to do microcontrollers and something like that. And they'd run for X number of flashes. You could push a button or flick a switch. Can't remember. It's a long time. It was called Xeno. The reason it was called Xeno is because I started putting in tracks, as you do on Boardmaker 1 at the time, probably. I started putting the name Xenon and then ran out of space. So I left the N off the end, and that's how it got its name, Xeno. But then the second version was just designed to fit inside the case. It was very simple, and it was just based on a 4040 binary counter. No, yes, it was a 4040 binary counter and a 4017. And just a simple, the 4017 was literally being clocked by resistors directly from a mains tap so that it ran, so it incremented at the zero crossing point. But with a slight phase shift introduced by a capacitor. It's all terrible circuitry, but it worked. And then it provided the signal out to the thyristor that fired the trigger transformer for the strobe tube. There was a voltage multiplier, and then the 4040 counted number of pulses and turned it off after a certain length of time to stop the thing being left running all the time. Worst food you've ever tried? Mine is calf eyes. Yes, the eyes aren't too good. Miss Redcake says, welcome to Xenon. My pinball machine says, Nya Zeno, because it's French. And I left it French. Chocolate does oxidize. My grandma was a chocolate polisher for real. All the gear, no idea. It does create that slight, does it oxidize, but the fats come out and it goes white. Oh. Scrolling down. When I was a kid, me taking my own tooth out there couldn't have been worse. Barry Beedman, you've just bought a Xenon machine? You lucky person. They look great. The gameplay isn't fantastic, but they look great machines, particularly if it's got all the original back glass with infinity mirror effects and the dome. It's a very good, looks great. And the vocalizer, which is the speech replay unit, which used CVSD, continuously variable slope delta modulation. And because memory was super expensive at the time, it just had a big block of EPROMs. Bloom, that's what they call it in chocolate. That's right, Count Druncula. Burn you EPROMs to make Xenon English. I can, Kirka, but I kind of like it when it says, things like Entre la tube or Nyavanya Xenon or Jouez-moi encore. And what is it when it's releasing the balls? Or when it's locking them? I'm trying to remember that now. I'll remember it as soon as I stop the video, but that's how it works. What was it? What does it say when it's launching the balls? Can't remember. It's got 2-ball, multi-ball. Tempering chocolate is a thing, Verdi Wolf. It always has to be moving. You can't just melt it. It always has to be stirred to keep it flowing. But interesting stuff. The science behind chocolate is quite severe. Right, tell you what, I'm going to put my tooth extractors out the way before they stimulate more conversation. I will mention, I think I mentioned this in the past, that both me and Ralph, what was the pulse rate like on the Medusa? Oh, the most popular speed was 12.5 pulses per second. It was a straight division. That was just the best speed. It was The showman didn't give a shit about the speed for special effects. They wanted the brightest appearance and the best speed that compromised, because as the pulse rate goes down, it makes the strobes look dimmer, even though it's not, because there's less pulses coming out of them. 12.5 was the most popular. It had 3 speed settings, which divided by simple. It had a 3-position switch. I'd set it to 12.5. That's what they left it. Nobody ever changed it. And if you work out 12.5 is roughly one flash every 4 cycles. I tried adding a 25 flash setting. It was awful. Talking about the pinball machines, I had it sitting in a pinball machine and I tested the software, hardware in that particular one. Or did I do that in software? But that one, all I could see in the room was shuddering. And you could see lines radiating out from the pinball machines. It was really odd. Very unpleasant. It wasn't good. It was epilepsy region. More rum. Chris Elzinga said Sudbury, Ontario, Canada. I must visit Canada at some point. So many great technical channels from Canada. It's like everybody's into technical stuff and they've all got beards and wear overalls. I mean, what more could you want? I'm going to check there's not a crushed LED in here first. That went everywhere. It was shrapnel central. Irish mashed potatoes, mainly butter. That's what gives it flavour and texture, Tom Houston. You got to add butter or oil to your mashed potato and a little bit of extra salt to give it an extra boomph. Clive, how are the cats doing? Shall not tell him. Hutchie's fine. Hutchie calls by regularly. Ralph's cats are doing fine. He says they're getting more and more adventurous and dangerous. He's not fallen in the bath yet when he's in there, but it's inevitable. Buttery mash is lush. It is, Rob Worrell. Clive should do a collab with Linus Tech Tips, but only if he wears overalls. Yeah. Who are the best Canadian ones that wear overalls? Quite a few of them, largely for heat. Quite Jolly Roger says mashed potatoes are Irish guacamole. You can make mashed potato and then dip tortilla chips in it. It's fine. I've done that. Oh, mash with cheese mixed in is perfect. DCN. You get flavoured mash here. You get the cheese mash and you get the onion mash. My local Tesco has a cat. That's good, Steve Perry. The local coffee shop has a cat. It doesn't actually work there. Pip is just the local cat. Is that 14 or a seat? It's the bench. I'm standing up. It creaks. Never seen Avon overalls. Neither have I, but Dew Club. Dave Ward says, can you do an American accent? Well, I guess I could do an American accent, but I don't normally do American accents. Don't forget mustard mash. Have I tried? What a horseradish is good as well. It's turned into mashed potato. A mashed potato stream. 1R2D, I'm Irish to eat mashed potato. It's not obligatory. Pro, bring back Mr. Bun Buns. It has to be something different. I was looking at other bunnies. Count Drugula says, you sound like Kenny Everett doing Cupid's stunt when you do American. Oh, gee. And then all my clothes just fell off. That's more like Cupid's stunt. Or Carla. Oh, gee, Captain Crimin. But anyway, oh, is it Jaeger time again? Oh, there's who we're going to toast. There's who we're going to toast. To Kenny Everett. And for those who don't know Kenny Everett, look it up on YouTube. Oh no, how did he get off with it? Kenny Everett, a comedian, DJ, gay, hilarious show. How did you get off with it? I mean, it was aimed at kids, really, but the parents liked to watch too. My dad loved Kenny Everett because basically the dancers were in bondage gear. And they had big tits, basically. And, like, it was all tits and whips. And, like, he just, all the celebrities that appeared in the show were just going along with it and just, this is ridiculous. How are they even allowed to do a kids show like this? And we were all thinking, oh, this is great. We love this show. Dad watched because of Cleo Rockus. Drew Dastard, let's be more accurate. Dad watched because of Cleo Rockus's tits, quite frankly. But it was all done the best possible taste. And Cupid's stunt to her stories of how all her clothes just fell off. He was beyond gay, he was. Adventures in a Subaru Outback. Kenny and Freddie was great, and Freddie Mercury appeared on many times. There's a guy called Lindy Beige who looks just like Kenny Everett. There was another Justin something, another comedian on another DJ on Radio 1 who sounded just like Kenny Everett. My parents did approve of Kenny. I'm not really surprised Andrew Edis. He was pretty bad, but funny, hilarious. Tom Hewson says London's grottiest tube station. Which is that then? I've not been to London in ages. Graham Shaw, I wasn't allowed to watch Kenny Everett. My parents were into Bible bashing. Yes, it would upset the hardcore Christians. Kenny and Rod Stewart, mad, absolutely. Mouse says, I can remember my dad roaring with laughter at all the stupid jokes in Kenny Everett's show. It was ridiculous. It wasn't Kevin Greening, no. Justin something, I'm not really sure. Adrian Just, that was it. Not a patch in Everett, but had the same style of voice. Dave Ward says, we had Elvira. Was that a kid's show? That's funny as well. The best Kenny Everett character is the DIY bloke who used to just chop his hands up all the time. Did Kenny Everett speak fluent French? Oh, he had vacation in rural France because he spoke excellent French and nobody recognised was someone famous. That makes sense because he was pretty damn famous. And Zad Server-Kenny and Billy Connolly did the Hinge and Bracket sketch. I remember that as well. They were funny. This is all going to be gibberish if you didn't see it. All I can say is go on YouTube and look for Kenny Everett and you'll find it. It's up there with Benny Hill, who's also about tits everywhere. It's like that's what the TV was like when we were young. It was tits, basically. And the kids didn't have a clue. We didn't see the tits. We just saw funny slapstick stuff. And the parents, it's like pantomime. It was operating 2 level. It had smutty jokes for the parents. And stockings, sussies. The vote hasn't shown up, says Mike Burke. What vote was that? Oh no. But yes, I really don't know how he got off with that stuff. It was ridiculous. How about the magic roundabout with all drugs? That was insinuations that Zebedee was gay and having said that, what was the rabbit called? Because it was out its face all the time. Dylan, that's the one. I was delayed. What was the result of what the tooth was pulled out with? Lol, says Mike Burke. The result was they wanted to know. And I used these LED extraction pliers to actually do it. They're for extracting LEDs, they're not, they're for teeth. But it strikes me that they'd be great for pulling, actually clamping onto an LED, desolder it and pulling it out. That could work really well. Even the fast show can't be sewn today since we're so PC. Some of them were so, yeah. Some of them were a bit harsh. The the Village Idiot one, where it's basically a guy with severe autism or something, and he says, like, and I don't find that funny. Like he had him there, and he was like saying, "My dad stopped moving," and then they came in and they put him in a box and they took him out, and he's gone in a box. I didn't think that was funny at all. Some of it was really just awful. But a lot of the good stuff was lost. I mean, that's why uh, Benny Hill was stopped. It was stopped by the feminists. Ah, so next subject. Next subject. Have I got anything else to actually show here at this point in time? I'd like to thank somebody for sending. LED modules. They work in the sort of signage industry. It was Chewy who sent an absolute shit ton of offcuts of LED modules of a variety and a USB power supply, and he says, "I'm a bit suspicious that USB power supply may not be compliant." You're absolutely right. Let me show you the first thing that says this is not compliant. It does kind of have some separation in the back. It's a purple circuit board, so not that bad, but not great. But this is not a Class Y capacitor. That is just a tiny little capacitor that is completely non-compliant with electrical separation. That probably means that the transformer's shit as well. Can you flush butt wipes? Not the wet ones, no. You can't flush those. I don't recommend it. I mean, if you want to get a plumber's bill, that's how plumbers make lots of money, cleaning those wet wipes that are not really flushable from your drain system. As I say, plumbers make lots of money. Just thought I'd mention that. They're always working. Just thought I'd mention that. It's a trade that will always provide good income, and then you can do other technical stuff. Heating engineer combines two things. And when you get old as a heating engineer, when you're an expert in fixing stuff, or even when you're young, you become a boiler maintenance guy. And you go around just fixing stuff, swapping circuit boards, changing sensors. It just makes life easier. You don't have to lift all the floorboards and shit like that. Like self-employed Steve Gill over here, Oil of Man. That's his actual name of his company, Oil of Man. His speciality is the oil burners and heating systems, and he works 4 days a week. That's by choice. He works 4 days a week. Self-employed, that's all he needs to do. Fat is way worse than wipes. It is, Rabbi Boy. It's just fat that congeals and causes things to stick. The flushables, well, they're not flushables, the wet ones, they just provide a surface that actually starts stuff building up. They snag on anything spiky. Plumbers, because everybody's got a shit the turtle moves, not just because everybody's got a shit, but because nobody likes their shit for some reason. It's fine. I'm not into scat or anything. I just thought I'd mention that. Rag and Fat, hello Fatberg, it is magic. Perfect, and then they can just take it from the drain in China, refine it, and sell it for street food. That's right. All the year, no idea. I used to go down drains fitting flow monitors. I loved that job. Oh, that must be quite tricky in a drain for all the chunky bits. No wipes are flushable. Zap, Sparky, they are not. Toilet paper, that's it. Lovely light bar behind there. Black, if it's this one, that's one of Evolution's 19-inch rack mounting strips. If that's what you're thinking of. With its chaotic pattern. The Redneck Atheist is the local handyman who named his business Cocky Rooster. I don't get that. Is there some sort of handyman Cocky Rooster? I'm not really sure. That's a strange name. It's memorable. Have you looked at any USB cup warmers before? Yes, I have, penny in the slot. Better still, I have a 240 volt one in pink on its way from China right now. Turds Tinkling TP. Wouldn't it be Turds Tinkling Plop? Human Seagull is drinking beer. This is not a surprise. Guttural. Putting Chinese street food in a new perspective. Would it stop me eating it? No. Oh, Miles Bancroft had a septic tanker at Old House. It was emptied by a company called Success. That's a good name. We have a restaurant named Bacon Butch. It's good. Okay, interesting name. Technically, toilet paper isn't flushable, says Squeak, but it dissolves well enough, it's fine. The Zocco pinball machine, never heard of that. Jimmy Bav says, Kenny Everett with Billy Connolly, which does make me wonder how far Jimmy Bav is back in the stream. Not going to read that. Central Sewer, you get this, sewer guys with their waders. I wouldn't like to fall with waders in the sewer, they'd fill up. But it's one of those things that they get used to the smell, and it's a job that people don't like, and the health and safety doesn't like going down there at all. And now we get flushable toilet paper tubes. That could make sense. They could make them dissolve. The people with poop shredders, the ones that pump it down a small pipe, they don't put their toilet paper in. Isol didn't seem to dissolve much. No, it didn't. Isol was just awful. Biggest, dickest, crotchless waders, not practical for obvious reasons. Mystery Cake just shouting bear. There are specialist diving people that clear sewage tanks, so I didn't know that, Dave Hales. That sounds unpleasant, but I suppose they'll be into it. Macerators, squeakers, I'd call them poop choppers, jobby choppers. Isol was tracing paper. For those who don't know, I can go and get some Isol and show you. I kept a souvenir roll as a reminder of why modern toilet paper is so good. I introduce to you Isol medicated toilet paper. It's slightly matte on one side, shiny on the other, and neither side removes poop. And this, my grandmother used to have this little sheets that pulled out a box. And she said, you scrumple it up and then you wipe your ass. No, it just spreads it. It just spreads feces all over your ass. It doesn't go anywhere. It's not water soluble. Hold on, I'll just try dissolving a bit. Not really breaking down much. No, it's awful. It could be used as tracing paper, but it's awful. Remember it from school, indeed, Gone to the Grave. Do you know where I remember it from? British Leyland, where the menial shit workers, this is the British management versus workers things, the menial scum that worked in the shop floor, the guys that did all the real work that built the cars, they had Izal toilet paper to clean their dirty menial bottoms, and the office staff had the tissue, the proper soft tissue. That's the management divide. That's a really good example of it. That's why British Leyland doesn't exist anymore. The management hated the workers hated the management. Welcome to Britain. That's how it used to be. Wuffles Izal. I've not tried lighting a sheet of Izal. I should light a sheet of Izal, shouldn't I? I think it'll burn. I think I may need the fire extinguisher for this. Yeah, that burns quite well. That is burning quite well. Yes, that is burning. Oh, right. Tell you what, one moment, please. Wow. Oh, tell you what, despite not quite making it to the sink and burn the fingers slightly, look how light that is. Look how light this. Do you know what it did? It did that thing where it burns and then the tissue just took off while it was still flaming and it floats around. Can you see that floating around? It is super light ash. That is intriguing. That is really intriguing. Yes, the place is fluttering with burnt toilet paper now. Excellent. Joe's Computer Museum, hello to you. I'm just setting fire to ancient vintage toilet paper. Like tea bags. I think the tea bags do that as well. It'd probably be good for wiping your ass with now, yes. The place is full of ash. There's no toilet paper ash. At least it is not used. I just want to point that out. So Asda, when it first opened, stocked rolls, individually wrapped, of Izal medicated toilet paper for the old people who just thought that wiping your ass with greaseproof paper was a good idea. Or waxed paper. And I bought some rolls of it because I remembered when I was young, my grandmother and the whole family went on holiday. At different times, me and my cousins went on holiday to the Isle of Man and stayed with our grandparents there. And she always had that awful Izal toilet paper. So one Christmas, I wrapped up the rolls and said, "It's something that will remind you of Grandmummy." And I remember my cousins saying, "Oh, I know what it is. It's oatcake biscuits, isn't it?" I was like, "It's a surprise." She wasn't impressed when she opened on Christmas Day and it was a roll of medicated toilet paper. Bet Ralph still uses ours. Oh no, Ralph stocks up in bulk on Lidl toilet paper for some reason. When he goes over with the van, it comes back full of Lidl stuff. He's not been over for a while though, so he must have had to use local stock. Ah. Ain't Big Ain't Clever's here. Hello, Ain't Big Ain't Clever. Oatcakes would do a better job. They would be better. Yes. How does Izal smell? Oh, it used to have, that doesn't have any smell now because it's evaporated, but it used to have that sort of medicated smell, so it probably was a pinishness. Nanotube ash, I tell you what, it probably is. It was so light, as it finished burning, it floated up the ceiling and then just hovered against the ceiling for a while. Oh, just checked in, been watching Netflix up till now. Ah. Ralph did hoard toilet paper before COVID. Ah. I only use the neck of a swan, but Squeak, the swans all belong to the Queen. She has to clean them off afterwards. I'd just like to point out the Queen is still alive. Someone put out, I don't know if it was deliberate or not, but they got misinformation maybe, and they put out a video saying that the Queen was dead. And I think the reason it's still up is probably because it's a big earner. The Queen is not dead. Yet. Long may the Queen prosper. We could learn things from the Queen. What is it? What was her favourite cocktail? Our favourite drink is, oh, what was it again? But it was fortified. It was gin and something else. Oh, a fortified wine already. She added more to it, just like Queen Victoria. They drink quite a lot, Queens. I'm not really surprised. She'll go on for a long time, I expect. Dubonnet. Stephen Burton, that's correct. Dubonnet and gin, is it? I tried getting Dubonnet here because it's the Queen's Jubilee. Gin and Dubonnet, Joe's Computer Museum. Me and my neighbours were talking, how are we going to celebrate the Queen's Jubilee, just because we thought it would be a funny thing to do. And when I need to get a bottle of Dubonnet from somewhere, I'll order it from Amazon maybe or something, and we'll have gin and Dubonnet. We'll have the Queen's tipple to celebrate her Jubilee. Queen Mum did 101 years. Genetically, she's got plenty, Rick. She's not the full shilling is what I said. No, she's fine. She's fully coherent. Wouldn't fancy her job. One part gin, 2 parts Dubonnet. I'd do it the other way around. Darnay's was a Harvey Wallbanger and 7 Chasers, yes. But Queen Victoria used to fortify her wine by adding a strong liquor to it. One is not amused when one runs out of wine. Squeak, she will actually get a telegram from herself. They still apparently have telegrams, didn't know that. My dad turned 91 last Tuesday, says Nisai. That's good going. Is he still 100% there? Squeak, I'm not sure the Queen does drink Pan-Galactic Gargle Blasters. I mean, it would be really exciting if she did. Queen Victoria consumed cannabis, did she? Oh, she drank Mariani wine fortified with cocaine. God, there's such a reputation. It just makes me wonder what the Queen does take when she's not on camera. Oh, you have to apply for it? Oh, okay. I suppose nobody really knows your birthday date, so you would have to... Oh, yes, you have to request the telegram, Matthew Bennett. That makes sense, because you can't tell who's 100. Must be born to the Queen. You know, must be intrusive being the Queen, Luciano. It's a very fake life. There's no privacy, even in the palace. There's people always there. There's no privacy. It's not a life, is it? I wouldn't want to be a queen or a king. I mean, obviously, I'm kind of a queen, but a king. Rabbi Boy, she was a mad junkie. Good. That's what proper queens are like. And then get out her face and then have people's heads chopped off. That's what we want. Something interesting that will put her in the history books. What will the current queen be remembered for? Bumping off Diana. No, that's conspiracy. To the person that sent me an email with a link to a video, to open my mind to the fact that the Ukrainian war is all stage managed and it's all fake and it's being filmed with actors. Fuck you. Seriously, flat earthers, conspiracists, they jump on every bandwagon. Like the Queen from Blackadder. That was funny, the Queen from Blackadder and her nanny. Tone, that was really funny. Stimulant with depressant, very smart. Well, that's bloomin'. Isn't that Red Bull? The, what do they call it again? When you put the Red Bull and, what is it you? Red Bull and, I've forgotten. Anyway, it's the one with the double glass. I don't drink them. It's not speedballing. No, it's not a speedball. Jaeger bomb, that's it. I was thinking, is it Jägermeister? I thought, no, that'd be awful with Red Bull. And yes, it is a Jaeger bomb. Very popular right here. The pink panty dropper, that's the one, yes. Zach and the J, you are quite late, I have to say. Everybody else apologised, says I'm a bit late. You are actually late, but that's okay. Jaeger bomb used to be Jaeger and beer. Oh, no. Jaeger bombs are for 15-year-olds. That's a challenge then, Brad's Guitar Garage. Maybe I shall have some. Norm Swan says, leave my panties out of this. Your panties must be removed. Would it drop your panties, Clive, Minky Moo too? I very much doubt it. The only thing that would drop my panties is probably isopropyl alcohol, then ignited, and then there'd be no choice. I suppose that would work in ladies as well, but I do think they'd call the police probably. Art Matter says, is this a normie sheep channel, i.e. closed-minded? No, it's not. We're fairly well open-minded. If anything, abstract. Oh, Zap Sparky says it's still a Jaeger and beer at his place, his local. So these ones, was a bit disappointed that they actually advertised this vaping device as having the 500 milliamp hour cell. It seems to be a standard thing. But the actual cell in this is, it's not got the same connection system. It's got all the same usual circuitry. Let's see if I can get the guts out of it. Maybe not. No, that little seal is doing very well at holding stuff in. I'll take it apart in a video. That's what we want to see. Another one to get demonetized. Quite well glued together. So, changing the subject from queens and dropping panties and liquor, not that we should really change it from liquor, there's still ash floating around. That ash is just airborne for the day, I think. It is approaching woofle time, but that is not quite there yet. Dan Gleeballs, I'm sorry, late again, Clive. Congrats on the quarter bill. Oh, quarter billion. Yeah, it's pretty huge. Thank you, Dan. That's ridiculous. It seems odd, and it's happened so slowly. Yeah, the patrons have seen this. I've got, if you love neon signs, there was a big neon sign in Glasgow, the Barrowlands neon sign. I should extend that video a bit. I got to look inside the controller for it, and it's an old American-style cam switch controller. Very interesting. I made a video about it. It's a very short video. I think it should be packed out a bit with showing the modern ones that they still manufacture, but it's very interesting. Thank you, Mavos. I am well. Hope you're well too. It is almost approaching whiffle time. I'm going to have to whiffle. Going to have to top the whiffle up with liquid. The toilet paper ash should be good for testing negative ion generators. It's clumpy, but yeah, it should work. Philip S. van der Westhuizen. Blew up another bunny, but I've blown up a bunny. Goofy brained, oh, Big Clive's calming voice, is it that calming? Particularly when I get hysterical and want to blow up governments. Are there any Neon Tube Wakers still around? Not here in the Isle of Man, zapped Sparky. I posted in a technical forum with sign makers that I thought the sign that's the thumbnail of this video was really attractive, that it was really a good implementation of LED neon. Oh, all the neon people that say everything must be glass neon came out in force, and I like glass neon. Getting it made these days reliably is just a nightmare. Glass neon, the LED neon has replaced it ultimately. You don't have to deal with some of the neon benders who were prima donnas, some of them. Anyway, Whiffle time has approached. What you're listening to now? I don't really listen to much music. My house is normally silent. Except for me and stuff blowing up. Woofle. Add some ISO with the woofle. I'm not sure that would really work. See, much better bubbles when there's no isopropanol added. Woofle. The electrostatic precipitators and filters do a really good job of taking this stuff out there. There is black smoke. Tangerine Dream, says License to Drive. I never really listened to Tangerine Dream much, but they were an early synthesizer band, I believe. Add sugar to the woofle? Could work. We've added syrup before and it thickened it and made it poppy and crackly. DCN says, I have to have sound around me all the time. It makes my tinnitus a little better. You also get the white noise generators or the pink noise generators that generate that warm whoosh. I find I sleep better when there's a noise like that. Ain't big, ain't clever. Limmy reckons Scots can't say purple burglar alarm. I was talking about that recently with some neighbours in Glasgow. And it's true. When we say purple burglar alarm, it doesn't come out properly because of all our guttural stops of the Glaswegian accent. It should be purple burglar alarm, but it comes out as purple burglar alarm. It doesn't come out too well. It's fine. I can understand what people are saying when they say it. Reverend Flatus says this evening I'm mostly drinking cheap rum. It is the best rum because, let's face it, expensive rum. The only difference is one's made of ethanol and the other's made of ethanol with mostly water above that and then flavour. Yeah, nuts and proud. I love my music loud. 400 watt amp gets plenty of exercise. I hope you don't live too near neighbours. Rabbit boy, it's the only downside about Glaswegians though. It's our secret communication system, Ouija. It is a strong accent. It doesn't come across for certain words, but it doesn't matter. It's just a regional accent. You could say the same about people from Newcastle speaking in Geordie. What is it, the Geordie language? Doric. It is, actually. It's got its own name. CameraTim.com, you ain't listening to 400 watts in your house. No. Maybe 400 watt amplifiers, but not at full volume, not unless it was very inefficient speakers. Does anyone remember the, who made them? Was it the Diamond 3? The little speakers that used to, was it Bose made them? I'm not really sure. But they were, people would put them up in pubs and they're like, oh, listen to the bass from those tiny speakers, isn't it amazing? And yes, it was amazing, the bass, but the cost of that was efficiency. We have very thick walls, says Nuts and Proud. Bass goes through walls. Yeah, we get big thick walls in the tenements in Glasgow, but the bass goes through them. But the Wharfdale Diamond 3, that's the one. They were super bassy, but they were tiny little speakers that were rated 100 watts. And you're thinking, isn't it amazing how they're rated 100 watts despite they're so small? Inefficient as anything, you know. And another speaker might have been more efficient. Nuts Proud says, I have a good subwoofer. Subwoofers are essential, particularly bandpass ones they get in cars that just basically go oomph, oomph, oomph. Very narrow bandwidth bandpass ones. Brad's Guitar Garage has a strong opinion about this, apparently. He says, fuck Bose. They just use a massive inverse EQ curve to counteract the shitty speakers and boxes, then it maxes out just below conversation volume as a result. True. A black country accent. Vonnie Blues says, quite strong as well. Britain is just full of accents. And when you go to a different area, sometimes it's quite difficult to actually understand what people are saying for a while. It's almost like a different language. Inefficient speakers are more linear in excursions, says Nick Norton. Now, I'm not getting involved with the audiophiles here because this is a complex subject of its own. Hold on then. Here's one for the audiophiles. It's a question. Are Class D amplifiers a good idea? Ask your community. Thomerson says, sorry, don't get the banter. It's very random. Bandpass is crap, no frequency range, hopeful traveller. The whole point of it is to go oomph, oomph, oomph. For maximum efficiency in a very narrow band, you tune it to the point that it's the most audible thumping bass. That's what cars use for their audio. There needs to be a third option. It depends. It's just a generic thing. It's to sort out. Yes, they are. Yes, it's winning, but I thought it would be higher than that, but that's okay. The digital amplifiers can be very small. Where is one? Let me grab a digital amplifier. They can be very small. I should really wire this up at some point. Woozy Audio. Not a good name, Woozy Audio, but not to worry, because Woozy means something completely hi-fi power module, 100 watts times 2, because it uses digital amplifiers. Whether it actually is an unknown variable in here. But there is quite a bit of circuitry in here. Lots of capacitors in parallel. It's interesting. Audiophiles won't like them. No, they won't. Because of the impurity of the output frequency. But then audiophiles are audiophiles. Nigel Gunn says, I'm listening to you in a Class D. I think it was Birmingham Rec. It was the first time I actually carried in Class D amplifiers by Crown. And compared to traditional amplifiers, oh, they were so light. So easy to carry. It's almost like there was nothing in the box. End poll. Nuts Proud says, I still play vinyl records. I am not a purist. That's reasonable enough. So yes, Class D amplifiers are a good idea. Super efficient, super cool running. Efficiency is one of the big things. Good for a virtual pinball and an arcade machine, China North Air Guns, where you want extra boom. Jack Attack bass bin, they'd be perfect for bass bins because the pulse modulation frequency wouldn't really be an issue. Squeak says, use this £500 speaker or some bell wire. On some bell wire. What you need is gold-plated, single-direction, copper, oxygen-free wire type stuff. Chipmunk says, BRB, mum's CPAP time. Reasonable enough. Methyl says, evening, Clive. Good evening, Methyl. Steve Perry, the early Harrison Class Ds used to go bang and were discontinued. That's a good reason to discontinue them. To give you an idea of what Class D is, it uses pulse-width modulation to create the waveforms. So there is an intermodulation frequency that is then filtered out. But because the transistors are on or off, they run very, very cool. You can get massive power in a small box. It's all right. There are some chips now that have digitally driven Class D modulators. You get the full acoustic theory, you get the full bang in one little packet, and the chips are just so powerful. I don't remember the 6 2/3 speed iron melon. That's slow. Ain't big, ain't clever. Don't forget the gold-plated Toslink cables to link your CD player to the amp, and the devices, the little blocks that you could put on top of your CD player that would absorb all the data imperfections. There's a huge market for this. You also get the gold-plated consumer units so that all the wiring in your house and the pure oxygen-free copper twin and earth, they do sell this, and the sockets so all the wiring in your house can be hi-fi compliant. Lots of money in that industry. Do you have any hidden talents? John Thompson says. I'm not really sure if I have hidden talents. FLAC is lossless, MP3 isn't. Norm Swan says, this compression algorithms. Okurka has a DVD rewinder. They can explode when they go too fast. And the directional Cat6 network cables, that's the ones, Phil Summers, that have arrows on them to show the direction they have to run for AC wires, AC signals. It's all very odd. But anyway, all I can say is that if these audiophiles wish this equipment, you should supply it to them because they clearly want it. CameraTim.com, you say we told Mum she had to rewind DVDs at the end of the movie. Do you remember the first video jukeboxes? Not the, there was a, Scopatone was the film-based one, but there was actually one based on videotapes. Oh, it used to take so long between selections because it would be rewinding tapes between selections or winding forward on one tape to the selection. They were super slow. These days, it would be all digital. It's ridiculous. The size of memory cards these days is ludicrous. Pool Paul says, ideas for open back headphones, anyone? Not sure. Scopatones have the best videos. Now, here's an interesting thing, right? Count Drunkula. The Scopatone was a video jukebox, but the videos were actually on reels of film. And it had a circle of reels of film inside and a rotating carousel. It would wind round and then it would feed it down. It would actually load it in and it would play the film and it would be projected up onto a screen. And at the end, it would suddenly rewind it up, and then move on to the next one. But because it's before music videos, it's before even Top of the Pops and other music videos happened, it was a new medium and it became fashionable to create music videos. That launched music videos. The Scopatone single-handedly launched the concept of the music video. Now, of course, every track for commercial success has to have a music video. So, Count Drunkula, yeah, the Scopatones, just type Scopatone into YouTube and you'll find the Scopatone videos, and some of them are a bit far out there. Some of them you can clearly see, oh, this is new, this is weird, the musicians are just having a bit of a carry-on, really. But that was it. Which back doctors are the quacks? Mr. Eggcake says. The chiropodists, apparently, the ones that say, we do insurance work, are the quacks. They were discussing this on HVAC Overtime yesterday. HVAC Overtime is a channel where it's basically HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, engineers that just have a relaxed stream at the weekend. The Redneck Atheist audiophiles are actually buying stranded silver speaker now. Solid silver? That would be expensive. Mike's Electric Stuff says, I prefer to listen to the music, not the hi-fi system. You never notice the quality of VHS with a good film. That's reasonable enough. It would have to be bad audio before I really spotted anything bad. Not chiropodists, chiropractors, for fuck's sake, says Electron Box. Chiropractors, that's right. Chiropodists do feet, that's fine. Lot of beard action in HVAC overtime. There is Minky Moo too, particularly Bill's beard, which rivals mine. It might be better than mine. But yes. Alright. Subjects. How is Kev bearing up? Kev, I think he's fine, Rabbi boy. I've not really seen Kev for a while. Real beards have moustaches, says Furbear. Oh, really, Furbear? Really? It's growing back. It's been quite nice, actually, to have it out the mouth, even if it does show missing teeth. Maybe just a little bit more. It doesn't matter. It's been quite nice to have that trimmed down. If you complain too much, I'll shave it off again, actually. No. It just every so often I go through a phase of that. After losing his dad, yeah, he's fine, Rabbi boy. He's okay again. Wonder how the broken chair's holding up. The chair's destroyed, Steve. I absolutely wrecked it. Mr. Eggcake says, I want to touch Kev. I think a lot of people want to touch Kev. Because he is blue-collar trash. It was a shit chair, it is now, Rabbi boy. I mean, it was okay. It survived for a decent length of time, even with June sitting on it. So it took a bit. It took a fight between me and Kevin to actually destroy it. I shall pour more rum while the conversation settles down. Brad's guitar garage. I don't want to touch Kev. Then Kev wants to touch you. Yeah, Kevin wouldn't touch the shot machine, Mr. Phil. That was disappointing. I thought he was going to be super manly and line-manish, but that's okay. Dave Ward says, I shaved my head yesterday. I almost shaved my head yesterday. I need to shave my head. It's the hair is too long. It feels like cat fur. It's super dense and thin. It's very strange. Show sodium lamps. Oh, I could show you a sodium lamp, but I'm not sure that'd be a terribly interesting topic right now. It needs its own video. Dave Ward feels so much better. Yeah, but now you've shaved your head, hoodies and beanies are going to be so grippy and tight on it. Brad's guitar garage says, I wish I still had hair out of a mohawk. Stick one on. Show Sir Jacob's ladder I could, but it would involve digging it out and then powering it up while holding it, which is, well, as Electroboom demonstrated, that's an absolutely terrible idea. Dead to the backlog now, so it's a quick fit job, a reasonable enough, Meg Yo-Yo. Jonathan Hughes, Kevin is not true lineman. Come to the USA where they're real linemen indeed, and they shout, woo, look at me, and they fly the American flag from the top of the pole, and then they handle live wire and say, look at me, I'm a hero, and then they go bang, and everybody, he died a hero, and it's like, actually, it'd be better if he hadn't died, but not to worry. I wish they'd actually just turn the power off when they work in some of the stuff, but not to worry. American linemen do look very manly though, which is good. They work ridiculous hours. I have to say, I do kind of want a go on that helicopter rope thing that they use to get them to the top of poles. That looks so fucking cool. Arion Well, Clive, what do you think of Magneto? Hydrodynamic propulsion systems are submarines. If it's the ones that pass electrical current through the water to create the magnetic field that opposes between the magnets and then causes water flow that then propels it, that's not going to be great for the fish, is it? It must induce current flow in the water. Horvath, Kevin looks not exactly feminine either, I must say. He does look quite manly, especially when he's driving his Unimog line truck. It looks pretty cool. I can't lie, a bit jealous. Maybe one day I'll buy one just because, you know, it suits my appearance. And I can steal streetlights. Is that how electric eels swim? No, they don't use the current. They use the current to punish their prey. They don't actually use it to propel themselves through the water. They just ripple. Jan Frederik Leversund. Leversund? Sean Nocturnal says, I know a guy that took the programme and did not have a clue about low voltage and was able to fix his truck. Well, lots of educations. I believe it is like a jet engine for water. Okay, not sure. Button Up says, hi Clive, thanks to the Kodak LED bulb hack. Those bulbs, they're rebadged by so many brands that while I was across, literally when I came back, the bag that I put into the cargo luggage is just solid LED lamps of that style. And I'm going to take them possibly all apart in one video and just compare them side by side and see, are these all from the same manufacturer? I think so many of them are, and they're all hackable. Unimog suckers vehicles, Horvath. It's appearance, Horvath. It's appearance. They're fine. They look really manly. They're basically big, chunky, off-road type vehicles. You're not going to win any races with them. A ratchet crimper suitable for DIY dentures, suitable for breaking teeth, yes, Brian Rutter. I'm not really sure I'd do that anything else. Unimog is cool, a neighbour has one so noisy, GS1512. I suppose it depends on the unit. Not really sure how noisy they are. Wait, these aren't built by Kodak? No. Kodak don't make anything, it's just a brand now. What do you suggest the best 9-volt battery for digital multimeters? Arion Lelin asks. Technically speaking, if it's a posh multimeter and you want to protect it, use a lithium one with a 10-year lifespan and hope you don't leave it on accidentally. Did you get stopped and searched again on the way back? No, I didn't, John Payton, just on the way out. Lee Gooder says, I believe the Norwegian Navy developed a Stirling engine for a submarine, and the Americans couldn't find the sub that was so quiet. I would doubt that, to be honest. It sounds like rumour, but I could be wrong. Kodak still make photographic film. Photographic film is still made, but is it Kodak making it, Nigel Gunn? Kodak still make film then, says Mike's Electric Stuff Smarter every day just at a factory tour. Oh, it is actually Kodak making it. Is it not somebody like Polaroid who bought the name and the right to make the film map, the stuff, the cartridges? Right leg is dead, says Mr. Ike. Oh, numb. Have you been sitting in the toilet? I have a lithium 9-volt in my Bryman fancy meter, Horvath. I've got a load of lithium batteries for that very specific task, the non-rechargeable. The ironic thing about the non-rechargeable lithiums is that they have shit tons more lithium in them than the rechargeable ones. I get the feeling that these days, Kodak license or name not sold. I suppose that brings in money. Oh, I'm getting mixed things. Polaroid sold it. Okay. It's toilet break time. I'll be back in one moment. Talk amongst yourselves. Go for a pee. Do what one must do. Back in a jiffy. And back. That was a long P. It was a very long P, Mouse. It was gallons. No, Raven Looney, I'm not doing a jobby. Anyway, uh, interesting picture sent to me by Adam of HVAC Overtime. It's very clear he needs to clean his camera lens, but that's okay. It's an interesting little module. He came across it while he was working on a heating system. And the American heating control systems, they tend to run roughly on 24 volts AC as a control voltage. In the UK, it tends to be 240 volts AC, which makes it a lot spicier when you're working them. I think the reason they use 24 volts AC in America is because it's safer and it also gets around some electrical regulations, which means that heating engineers can do electrical work because it's all low voltage. But anyway, he sent me a picture of this, and it allows you to, if you've only got, say, a small number of control wires going out to something and you need an extra one, there's not enough room for one, it lets you divide one wire into two relay channels, and you can either have one relay active, the other one active, or both active together. And this thing that sends a signal is just a circuit board with two diodes on it. So it's either, keep in mind this is AC, it's either the positive half of the sine wave, the negative half sine wave, or you apply power to both and it gives it the full sine wave. On the other end, the circuitry is so simple. It is the wire, I think it's the purple one here that does it. Whichever polarity it is, feeds the relay via a diode, but because it's only half wave, at the same time as it feeds the relay coil via the diode, it feeds this capacitor via a resistor, charges the capacitor up, then when it's the other half wave, the capacitor discharges back through the resistor to the relay contact. So that means that just by choosing the polarity, you can select one or the other or both of these relays. Very interesting. 24 volts from an autotransformer, not an autotransformer, as an isolation transformer. And here's the weird thing, they say it's only 24 volts, they don't need protection, and you see people just basically shorting out the fuses or replacing the fuse on a, like they replace the transformer, it's all burnt out, and they say that's a really big fuse, but they just change the transformer anyway, and it's like something's wrong. Resistors look cooked or got, no they're not, it's just the shadow. It's fine, the resistors aren't really stressed in this. It is nice and simple, Minky Mooter. I wonder if that's supposed to be replacing the C wire. I'm not really sure. Is there any smart way to tell if a 18650 is suitable for high current usage or not without damaging it? Jonathan Knirsch, it's really hard to tell. Some are optimized for high capacity, low current, some for the higher current. It's pretty hard to tell other than brand and datasheet. Technically speaking, if you used one of the little battery impedance meters or you measured the voltage drop across it, you could tell what its internal impedance was. The lower the better for the higher current. Neil C. Vid says, C wires. I'm guessing the C general control wire. It is Jaeger time. And what was the subject at the time of that? It was HVAC engineers. To HVAC overtime. Especially Adam for sending that, because I may make a video where I just show, here's the circuitry and draw the schematic out for it. Don't mess with 18650, buy some decent ones of which you know the specs. Nisai, easiest place to get high output current 18650s is from a reputable vape shop. Cue the vape. This one is pineapple flavour. Yeah, pineapple. C stands for common wire. The common wire would be separate in this instance. What actually goes out to that, really, you've got the common and the 24 volts AC, plus you've got that control line or whatever else. Clawfish, are you aware there's a dodgy looking advert on YouTube? Use this trick to save money, but it's using your hand. I think it's holding a thermostat. There are two of those, one holding a, what is it, an over-under voltage trip relay, and the other one's holding the circuit breaker that doesn't actually trip because there's nothing in it other than a switch. Both those are regularly used by the scammers, the energy plug scammers. And every time they appear, I get hundreds of people saying, "Do you know about this?" And the answer is, "Yes, I know about it." It happens all the time. I find it more amusing than anything else. Which is the best phase of three-phase Rabbi Boy? It's the red one because that's what everybody fucking well uses. Well, brown now, and all the other ones are lightly loaded, but the red or brown is always just up to the hilt. In a supermarket once, I had an old clamp meter. I thought, let's just check the balance of the phases. I put it round the red one at the time, and it just actually made a buzzing noise when I actually put it round, and you could feel the magnetic force as it closed because it was so imbalanced. It must have been costing them a fortune. Everybody just goes in phase one. What's your favourite Irish cream? Any Irish cream. The American Adventure is gone. Is that a theme park, Mr. Eggcake? Jack attack. Clive, you couldn't solder a USB jack on a board. How would you stick it? It really depends on the situation. And the connector. Lee Goodyear, has anyone seen the advert for free DeWalt tools for people to review? That sounds like a scam. That does sound like a scam. There are lots of scams, notably on Facebook. Facebook is scam central. Yellow for lighting. In Husman, I found my old Husman ovals recently. Yellow, we had the phase colours in the past used to be red, yellow, and blue. And red, yellow, blue with black, neutral. Squeak says, I lost the use of my left hand last year. That's not so good. Annoying. So the refrigeration cases, we used to use a colour code. We used to use a standard. We used to use red, yellow, blue wire armours feeding the cases, and then we'd just keep those colours between the case power drawers, the control drawers. And the colour code was red for the defrost heater because it's red, hot. Yellow for the lighting because yellow was the brightest colour and looks like the warm white light. And blue was for the refrigeration control systems. It made it very simple. Rabbi Boy says, love DeWalt gear. Unfortunately, so do all the thieves that steal tools. DeWalt was apparently an old name in tools. It's Black & Decker, the Chipmunk. It's the pro brand of Black & Decker. We never saw them since 2000 in the UK. Lee Goodyear, that annoys me not balancing loads across phases. The control circuit always comes off the first phase. It does happen like that. It's just common because people who aren't super duper electrically competent, I used to actually measure the phases and see which one's got lightest load. That's the one I'd put a load on, a new load if it was single phase. But people who are not electrically skilled will just always connect to the first phase because it's the colour they recognise from flex. Kevin Hurst, do you have an easy way to trick hotel thermostats that look for infrared motion? Oh, passive infrared. Trickier to trick passive infrared. Not sure. They don't like moving mirrors. You could have a wee turntable with a mirror on it, like a clock with a bit of mylar, so it just passes and causes continual distortions with infrared heat, but I'm not really sure the best way to do that. Yellow 24 volts, is it safe? Neil Seavids. That's an unknown variable, what you're saying. My microwave is a chaos defrost function, Clodfish. Not sure about that. Audio issues, some static sound. It happens, CVRSE. It's in the data network. Audio dropouts frequent, or is it really going downhill? I'll just do a quick poll. Is the audio okay? Thank you, Rick Armstrong. Major UK ferry operators P&O Ferries has fired 800 crew. Can't go without a toast to those. That's actually something I toasted that on the Patreon stream. What happened is P&O Ferries, um, they are going out of business and they sacked all their staff. In a Zoom meeting, they sacked all their staff, I believe, and they replaced them with agency labour. I think the real problem here is that fucking agency. Maybe the agency management need readjusted. It's not a great thing to do. Oh, is the stream buffering? Can't really do an awful lot about that. I don't know where it is. Pie floater, Clive, can you juggle? Very basically, but not a lot. Agency work is a fucking sham, Mouse. Most of the electricians you get from labour agencies are labourers pretending to be electricians and pick it up as they go along. H marks it possible to bypass the island protection in a grid tie inverter? Not sure. Not sure. Not really use grid tie inverters much. Never really had to. We don't have solar panels over here much. I thought P&O was owned by Carnival. That would kind of make sense, Boobla. All the cruise companies are just exploiters of cheap labour, low wages. Come and work for us. It's great cruising all the time. They treat their staff horribly. Agency for £3 an hour, probably Neil Gower. Bring them all in from the Philippines because the Filipino seamen will work. They've got a tradition. They're fine for the work, but you can't compete with them price wise. So they use the cheapest labour. Joe Baden, if a ticket supply for two different UPS were fed from separate phases to a single server with dual PSU, is there a possibility for 15 volt to be available? Oh, not really sure. Depends on the configuration. If it's going through a power supply, because if each one, even if it's in a separate phase, is fed, if it's going straight to a transformer, or through a switch mode power supply that should be isolated to the other side, there shouldn't be a potential difference. It depends on the configuration. If it puts the phases through otherwise directly, which would potentially be dodgy. But yeah, it's odd. I'm not sure what's happening in the UK because Manchester Airport has had security issues with the security queues being queued right out the building and people missing their flights. The Steam packet said if you can get over here, we'll give you it for a standard, reduce the minimum rate foot passenger to get you back. Because unfortunately, what happened with the Manchester is that the airline company said it's not our fault. You're not going to refund. You missed your flight. We couldn't do anything about that. You should have turned up earlier. They were just passing the buck. That's not great. P&O are owned by an Arabic company. Well, that makes sense then. The parent company are making loads of money, getting government grants left, right, and centre, paying huge dividends. This isn't about saving the business. Dennis, the Arabic countries, they're like Dubai, treat their workforce like shit. There's a lot of this happens. Maybe we need Armageddon to wipe out all the useless people. The conversation is running a bit dry now. It's running out of conversation. So we'll end, to give it a reasonable time, we'll end at 35 minutes past the hour. It's now 11 minutes past the hour, so we have approximately 20 4 minutes to go. Just so you know. Armageddon, where everything was destroyed, would to me that would be an exciting challenge. That'd be fun. Actually, trying to build technical stuff to live comfortably, and things like scrape together salvage bits of solar panels and lithium batteries that had survived and LEDs and make solar lighting and stuff like that. I think it'd be an interesting thing. Has anyone else not seen any posts on it, or is it just my phone? Maybe it doesn't appear on phones. Not really sure, Steve Ward, but there's just been a few polls. The redneck atheist, I'm all for a white collar apocalypse. Most white collars, not all. I'll be dead, Big Clive. Note that. What? But I think we'd do okay. I think we'd do all right. Clive, do you have many girlfriends? No. I really hate apocalypse humping. I really do. What? But anyway, a disaster, something happening. It could be something like, say, for instance, there is some monolithic external space influence that causes our electrical systems to shut down. I think we'd be okay. Do you have many boyfriends then? No, Floppy. I don't really have any boyfriends at all. Not that I know of. Do you have friends that are girls? I know females. Yes, Rory McLeod. It assures to nuke the planet from orbit, Squeak. Would we have to leave the planet first? No internet porn? Not really. I'm not really into porn. Millennials won't be okay. No, they won't, Darren Ager. Their gaming systems will go down. They'll be so sad. EMP sounds scary. It's all hyped up. Anthony Palpitch. If there is one that has that effect, we've got more to worry about. What do you think of using microwave oven transformers to make a simple welding machine, Arion Welland? For a super high current transformer where you remove the high voltage secondary and just put a few turns of high current through, it's fine. It's going to be a bit unpredictable, but it's fine. How would you obtain food? We'd eat the people who died. And vegetables, Miles Bancroft. We can't really tell until it happens. We'll improvise. Stick of the Dump was a good book, John Key. I read Stick of the Dump. About a Stone Age guy at the dump who just somehow survived the Stone Age era. Interestingly, they do talk of Neanderthals still existing in society, but they're apparently quite susceptible to the COVID virus, which isn't so great. Brent Thompson, ever heard of beard beer? A guy in Buffalo, New York makes it with yeast from his beard. Oh, that's horrible. No. Thank you, Michael Buckley. Thank you for the knowledge that you share on your channel. I've learned a lot. Can't wait to see what you come up with in the future. Probably terrible things, but that's okay. Once you draw the conclusion, friendship is an illusion that's quite deep in this eye. Goofy Brain, don't forget when eating humans, keeping alive cut limbs is needed. That'd be quite a controlled thing. Start at the feet, maybe. Foot McNuggets. Would the Ice Age start in Russia, Ashley? Who knows what's happening? Yeast is all around. It is indeed. I mean, the prisoners used to start the fermentation of their orange juice with bread, I think, when they made their prison hooch. Mr. Jozza says, missed most of tonight's stream because it was the family's free Uber service. Maybe you should charge them, and then they'd stop using you. Potassium permanganate foot baths working, thanks. Nuts and Proud says, this is good. I had one recently while I was in Glasgow just to keep my feet fresh. Crotch beer, Minky Moo 2, you could. And some people might drink it. I think Lady Knicker beer might be okay, but have to be the correct type of yeast. I'm not sure that's a good idea. Childhood books. Electrical says the sound is very good. People are just too pretentious. Sometimes, depending where you are in the world, there is a bit of crackle comes across, and it is quite annoying when it happens. But I don't think I can do anything about that. Sometimes stopping the stream and restarting it finds another route through. There's something is introducing little clicks into it from time to time. Humans taste of pork, Yanovich. I'd happily eat human bacon. I wouldn't have a problem eating humans. It's meat. It doesn't matter. It's just another animal. I'd eat monkey as well. Monkey nuggets. Not their balls. I have the Prison Ramen cookbook. There's lots of interesting stuff in it from famous people, Squeak says. That makes me think of that, the noodle, that book that used to be sold in like telemarketing with all the noodle recipes, including apple pie. It's quite odd. Politicians would be very good for eating because there'd be lots of crackling on the surface. You could like really bake them until they were crispy and crunchy. Get in my belly, indeed, John Payson. Obviously, the babies would be snack size. Oh, the numbers watching are trailing off big time now. We've talked about eating people. This is not a surprise. Haggis would be good. But yes. Line 6 says, audio's fine for me. It just sometimes it varies where you are in the world. I shall have some more rum. It feels like a blister on my big toe in my left foot. That was a pain in the arse in Glasgow because it made walking very uncomfortable. I think it's a blister, but I'm not really sure. It doesn't look like the normal blister. It just feels like a sore patch on the side of the big toe. Best way to find a limit is to exceed it, Norm Swan. Words to live by. Particularly electrical stuff. License Drive, the audio does clip a bit. It's not clipping License Drive, it's just little packets of the audio are missing. Still looking forward to the politician teardown video. Which politician would I tear down though? Big toe blister pain in the ass, they are, Rory McLeod. But it's not an obvious one. However, I stuck a pin in it today and blood came out, so that's not really surprising, is it? It didn't seem like blister juice. I don't think it's going to help. See a chiropractor, I could well do that. It just happens. When I'm in Glasgow, I just walk my feet off. I walk all the time. The old monk, it doesn't matter, one less politician is always good. You wouldn't really miss them, would you? They're not really terribly useful people. It'd be good if they said the only people who could become politicians are technical people. People who've had a real job, cleaners, joiners, welders, painters. But that doesn't happen because we're all busy working. Johnny Hughes has never had horse or dog meat. I'm not sure about dog meat, but I've had horse. I didn't realise I was eating horse at the time until the horse scandal reared its ugly head and suddenly there was no meat in my microwave meals and I thought, oh, it was delicious. I'd be eating the microwave meal and saying, this meat's great. How can they afford to put that in such a cheap meal? Tom Houston, blood blister. I think it was a blood blister. It's feeling better now. No lawyers ever. Lawyers doing the complete opposite of what they were supposed to and maintain justice. Well, they don't. They do the complete opposite. Horse's taste is Ivor Cellini. Apparently so. Delicious. Darren Ager, ostrich is nice. It's bird, but it's red meat. I've tried ostrich. Hmm. Horse is more healthy. It's very lean. I'm pretty sure I've eaten horse meat, and it just seemed really good meat. But having said that, have you tried a lot of the vegetarian options these days? And they're actually pretty good now. They are getting convincingly meat-like. I know that's like, that's going to like rile the why do you make it like meat? It's interesting textures. They compare them to the meat. Thatcher was a science grad. That wouldn't stop me turning into Thatcher McNuggets, Gonzo the Great. Someone should have done that early on. I'm kind of interested in the concept when they actually introduce the grown meat. I'd like to try that. Horse gives me the trots, says Lee Goodair. Good joke. Vegetarian options. We can eat vegetarians now. Yes, you can. Camel is greasy. I'd kind of expect that given where they are, Reverend Flatus. Thatcher was a cow? Yes, beef burgers for her then, Mikey Yo-Yo. Not sure I'd eat a Tory. It's the best thing you could do with them. It's the best thing they could be used for is burger meat. A McPolitician. There we go again. See, the alcohol is just makes everything go a bit weird. So I was enjoying the wide range of cultural things. I had to explain that for my birthday this year, Ralph took me to Subway, right? And Ralph's birthday later this month, we'll be going to Subway, a different Subway. And you think, well, that's not really what you'd call posh. It's not really exciting. But do you remember the Demolition Man movie where the Taco Bell had won the franchise wars? So the top restaurant was Taco Bell. That's what it's like in the Isle of Man. On the Isle of Man, you've got McDonald's and you've got Subway, and those are the exotic international restaurants. So that's where we go. It's not fizzy wine, Silver Fox Wolf, and it would be so much worse. Mouse says, I don't have a problem with the horse meat scandal. I do have a problem with a system that can allow entirely the wrong animal to enter the food chain. They should have just said red meat. However, it's worth mentioning that when the meat scandal happened and the media was hyping it up, that it was the Irish Farmers Association or something, arranged for DNA tests of food products to show it was horse in them. So they created this situation that all this meat, all these meals got destroyed. So all the horses that had been killed to be turned into meat, their meat was just disposed of. All those meals could have been eaten. The supermarkets were hysterical about, oh, we must protect, people are getting outraged. If it was, I wouldn't like eating dog because they're pets. I wouldn't like eating cat because they're pets. Very few people have horses as pets, and the ones that do are rich bastards anyway, so fuck them. Well, there we go. It's not what I'd call a pet. Some countries, they eat quite a lot of horse. And without need for horses, there'd be no need for horses. They can't all be ridden on by spoilt little bitches with rich daddies. Wow. Asda Burgers disappeared. Damn fast at the first. Jack Attack, honestly, I'd have been looking for this stuff with horse in it. Rory McLeod, fresh batch of Russian MREs coming soon. I've had venomous posts on the Russian MRE video about how, well, they need it now. They're all dying of hunger. And it's like, fuck off. But I'm going to wait for Ukrainian and Russian MREs are off the menu for quite some time. I'm sure they'll be a glut to them afterwards, though. Big Bad Tiger, I found beef in my burgers once. I hope it didn't spoil them. Now I want to try horse floppy. It's delicious. Very lean. Because it's like they're all super lean. Mixbar says, my daughter loves horses, but I'm not rich or have a horse. That's this My Little Ponies. It's done a lot of things like that. Nuts and Proud says, I cook all meals from scratch with fresh ingredients. I don't. I get microwave meals or just pasta or rice in a packet. I'm not very good at that. It's just food. Ireland used to export a lot of horses to France for meat. Oh, right, okay, I didn't know that. John Carr. To be honest, think of it this way. If they do start growing meat and they say, oh, it's going to save all the cows from that terrible life, walking around in fields grazing and eating grass and going to the milking machine, get the milk taken, and then go out and all they have to do is loll about, eating grass and having a good time in the sunshine, they're not going to be needed anymore. So are there going to be fields of cows in them? No, it's going to become a zoo animal because there's no need to actually have them. So any animal that is cultivated for meat, the only reason they exist is because they have a use. And the same thing with horses, apart from rich little girls riding on them. There are probably fields and fields in other countries of horses roaming free, eating grass and having a good time until they get eaten. But without a demand for that meat, there'd be no need to keep those animals. So if we have a future where we can grow meat, we can grow beef, they won't need cows anymore. They will become basically a zoo attraction and they may go extinct. Sonic Biz, we only exist the Ogliarchs to milk for labour. That's true to a degree, but having said that, most of us quite enjoy working. The lives are not really that idyllic in most cases. To be fair, they're not, but the best way to get a good yield from cows of milk is to make them happy. So there are quite a lot of good facilities for them. It's not all as the Karens show. They only select the battery hens and stuff like that just for sensationalism. Japanese like sakura meat, horse neck meat. Well, the Japanese are a bit weird, Mark and Gully. They want weird bits and poisonous fish, puffer fish that you could die if the guy serving it cuts the wrong bit. I think I'll just go for like tuna, thank you very much. That sounds a bit safer. Or fish sticks. I like fish sticks. You get more milk when the cow is giving birth. Oh, right, okay. Linux worked at a company developing an automatic hoof bath system for dairy cows. Last woofle time. It is approaching a woofle time. We'll have a woofle and we'll have a toast to the P&O ferry workers who have just been royally fucked over. Is it P&O? I think it's P&O. When is second anniversary live stream? I don't know. When did this... It just seems like when I started them, I didn't realise how long this was going to go on. It's become quite established. I really don't know. I'd have to look that up. Fish-flavoured ice cream is one of the most bizarre. That and tea-flavoured Kit Kats. We're not sure about those. I may have a tea-flavoured Kit Kat right now. Whiffle. Oh, quite a big one that's all just falling over the side. Oh no, whiffle. Oop, knocking things over. I may have a little, okay, no, Chipmunk is agreeing with Mark Pitt for what? What? Frogs being mentioned, piss and orifice, what? One moment, please. I'm going to get a Kit Kat, a Japanese Kit Kat. One Japanese Kit Kat. What flavour is it going to be? Probably green tea, I'm guessing. It's green. It's a green Kit Kat. American grey cow tongue is popular here in South Florida among some ethnic groups. It's getting expensive, only one tongue to a cow or steer. You can get ox tongue here. Whatever, if it is ox, but you get tongue. Basically, tongue is put in jelly into a big block and then sliced, and it's quite a nice texture. They call it lunch tongue, that's what they call it. It's not wasabi, Tom Houston. I think it is green tea flavour. Kind of bland. Thank you, Squeak. Stop being weird. Wait, no, stop being weird. Not weird. What? Steven Seagal, thank you. Small donation by Google Rewards for noodles. Why, thank you. I shall get noodles. Steve Ward, jet fuel is kerosene. I didn't know that. I was looking up the hydrocarbon lists for the C12 to C16, etc. of the air fresheners. Discovered it was kerosene, but also discovered at the same time it's jet fuel. Oxtail soup is nice. I'm not sure how much oxtail is in it. Jet fuel, kerosene equal paraffin. It is indeed. Let's have an auxiliary communion. Let's use it. Let's use the monk's Benedictine for this one. I was supposed to keep enough of this to carbonate, but I didn't. Will you ever come to Quebec, Canada? I'm not really sure. I might go to Alberta because I'm really just looking for beards and overalls, really, because I'm a bit gay that way. I'm looking for the bears, but you know, if there's bears in Quebec, that's fine. Aussie 50 used to get nearly empty drums for free. Drums of the oil drums. Alberta, Jesus, no, Peter Stevens. Oh no, Saskatoon man, Zach and the Jew. God, everybody's so divisive in Canada. Yigamunion. To the P&O ferry workers who have been fucked over by their management, whichever country they're in. To the P&O workers who have all been laid off. They didn't deserve that. It's strong and very different to Jägermeister. Go to BC, British Columbia. It's as gay as it gets. Watch Highway from Hell. I'm not necessarily wanting to go to the gay bit, Mr. Monkey. Looking to go to the manly bit. Squeak, Ralphie is not allowed to cut bits of meat off the people he deals with, and to be honest, they're a bit old. Usually. Redneck Atheist, it's bad that joking about cannibalism made me feel a bit hungry. It gives me a great urge for ribs and big meaty things. Like drumsticks. Abe's house then. Maybe, where's Abe based? Is Abe roundabout? I'm not sure. I should know. I should have his address because it was on this when it got delivered. Can you raise the audio, please? I'm going deaf. I could shout. Kamloops. Yeah, he's in Kamloops. Where is Kamloops? I'm not sure where that is in Canada. Kimchi noodles. What I have after the Kamloops? British Columbia. Oh, well, British Columbia it may well be. Meet up with Abe. That would be quite good. So the stream is about to come to an end, just so you know. Technically speaking, this Thursday will be unofficial, because the last one was unofficial, but there was an extra one. Unofficial Patreon stream. It's in Big Clive, Canada, in British Columbia. BC, Big Clive. That works. But anyway, the stream is about to come to an end. So I shall catch up with you next week, or if you're on Patreon, I shall catch up with you on Thursday. There's 2 streams in fairly close succession. And in between time, I'll be making more videos. There's been a lack of videos being made. You guys won't have seen it in general, but the patrons will have seen a lack of videos come out while I was in Glasgow because I wasn't making videos in Glasgow. I was just so I'll have to make videos again soon. But in the meantime, good night or good day, and I shall catch you next week and have a good week.